morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The government is at the forefront in addressing the high cost of living, says President William Ruto in his Jamhuri Day speech, adding that these would be handled in 3 phases.
This high cost of living, we are tackling it in 3 phases. Our first agenda is to ensure that we encourage farmers to access affordable fertilizer so that we can enable our farmers to be able to enhance their productivity in our journey towards making food affordable in our republic. Our second agenda is that we are going to import 10 million bags of assorted types of food, including maize, so that we can close the gap temporarily because of the harvest occasioned by climate change. And thirdly, we are now in the process of working with the private sector to ensure that we import 300,000 metric tons of fertilizer for the planting season that is going to come from January going into April, to make sure that our productivity is enhanced so that we can produce enough food and reduce the challenges of the high cost of living in our republic.
The head of state further said that all government services will be digitized by next year.
We intend to transfer 85% of the remaining government services to the digital space so that every Kenyan, wherever they are, they do not have to get into any bus to go to get government services or queue in any line to access government services. It will now be possible in 6 months, when we finish the digitization of 5,000 government services, it will be possible for Kenyans to access government services from their comfort of their homes and their workplace using the internet, because government services will be available on that platform.
These as Ruto is expected in the US to attend the US-Africa Leaders Summit, which offers an opportunity for African leaders to shape the continent's partnerships with the US in trade, economy, security and political relations. The head of state left the country yesterday. Public health workers in Mombasa County called off their strike due to a court order. The workers, through their respective unions, issued a 7-day strike notice to the county government demanding 2-month salary arrears, remittance of statutory deductions, among other grievances.
How can you treat a patient and mentally you are not healthy, physically you're not healthy, socially you're not healthy? How do you do that? Nitakuwa instead, because I'll give you the wrong medicine. I am not motivated. I'll give you the wrong medicine. You treat me, I treat you. Give me my rights, I treat you.
We are union leaders and our language is different from his. He is the administrator. If he's doing administration, we are doing unionism. He should know how to approach us. But if he's going to get emotional, then that may be a bad seat for him. Actually, we had been patient enough. We had been going to those offices several times. By virtue of us calling a strike notice, it's not by accident or anything. We have exhausted. Whenever you go for meetings, you are given a timeline. Ninataka hii meeting iwe dakika 10. Are you getting the point? Nataka hii meeting iwe short. So tukienda, we don't talk. Nika vile TV na kuambia, huwezi kuijibu. Unasikiza news and you walk away.
Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir went to court in order to avoid the strike, but promised to do everything within his power to ensure that their paid and health services in public hospitals are not interrupted.
Kama ni tatizo la mshahara tumelitatua. Hata mahakama imetoa order ya kuwa hakuna strike that is going to go on. But even before discussions finish, mimi nitakuwa nimemaliza ya mambo ya mishahara. But we need to maximize on our workforce. Hatuwezi kuwa tunalipa huku ikawa watu hawapati huduma. Sini sawa namna hiyo.
Judy Muthoni, the mother of baby Travis Minor, who died after a fork jumbo was lodged into his head, has dismissed allegations that the baby was killed by his father following a family dispute. This comes after the Kenyatta National Hospital CEO Evanson Kamuri told the Health Senate Committee that Travis may have died due to differences between his parents. Kamuri told the committee that after Muthoni received news of her son's death, she was heard saying that the fork jembe that was meant for her had killed her son. Ali Muthoni said that her son was hit on the head by his 6-year-old brother while they were playing. And Kenyans who borrowed from the Hustler Fund so far paid 1 billion shillings. Cooperative and MSMEs CS Simon Chilugui said Kenyans have also repaid 1.1 billion shillings from some 7.5 billion shillings disbursed. The CS says over 15 million Kenyans have been registered, 377 million shillings saved, and 1.1 million Kenyans have borrowed more than once. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Get to see the world through a new lens and capture the moments that truly matter.
Good morning and welcome to Tuesday. Likelihood of it being a little bit more busy than it was yesterday. We're seeing a little bit of traffic getting into the city already, coming off of Mombasa Road. Outbound on the southern bypass, there's also some action happening there. We'll see Uhuru Highway get really busy as you go out towards the Haile Selassie junction at that roundabout and then heading into the CBD. It's a wet morning, so the streets are slippery, so you want to be careful. We're already seeing some action on Ajogo Road going out towards Landis, and we'll see that going towards Kamkunji through most parts of today. We'll keep an eye on the Thika Superhighway and see what happens this Tuesday morning. Be safe in whatever you do. Let us know what's going on where you are in an attempt to keep things moving this morning. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
SpiceFM, Nakuru. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The only way to...
At 8 minutes after 6 o'clock, it's a rainy morning in Nairobi. What's happening where you are at this time on the 13th of December 2022? For those of you who got scholarships, well done. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. I hope everybody's doing well today, and thanks for clicking in and joining us this morning as the day begins. You might ask, am I solo? Isn't that just the question this morning? Am I solo? Well, looking at conversations that we have lined up for you today, the day kicks off as we will have some time to look at what happened at Nyayo Stadium yesterday. What was it that your president said will happen? Or the things that they have in line with you. Have a chance to discuss that with us tomorrow, or rather at 9 o'clock today. All right. What else is happening this morning? Why am I lost? Do I know? I do know. I had seen. Okay. I don't know. It has disappeared. All right. We're going to be having a medical conversation, breakthrough research on African traditional medicine. Dr. Festus Tolo, who is from the Kenya Medical Research Institute, will join us today. He is a research scientist and deputy director at the Kemri Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research. We'll be having a look at that medical research into how traditional medicine can or cannot help as we move forward. All right. Willie Kimani also joins us from Naivas. How to make merry on a strained and maybe strange budget as well. And we'll be looking at that at 8 o'clock. And it's at this juncture I say good morning to these two gentlemen who've so kindly joined us. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Ndu.
How are you?
I'm fine. Are you?
Fine, thank you.
Are you well?
I am.
Did you get your QR code?
Like what now? My what?
Did you? Yeah?
Did I get my QR code? Was I
Yes.
supposed to get one?
Yes.
For what?
It's a scholarship.
Online learning.
Oh, well done.
Yeah?
No.
You didn't get?
Nope.
Alex, send it to her so that she can get it.
No, she needs to come to Nyeri Stadium.
When? On the 12th of December.
Come to Nyeri Stadium yesterday. I'll give you the QR code. Yeah, I get access to learning. Free.
Free learning? Okay.
City, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. You had a good Jamhuri?
Jamhuri wasn't bad, actually.
Trying to remember.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to remember. I'm reminiscing in my mind. It was good, quiet, peaceful. The thing I noticed, though, is that, you know, there is this problem of having lived in this city at a younger age. Because what my memory bank has is what streets look like on holidays and weekends. That has changed completely. There are traffic jams on Saturdays. There's traffic on Sundays. On public holidays, even when the celebrations and whatever else is associated with it has come to an end, there's still a lot of traffic on the road. Forget traffic. There are even jams on the road. Yes. So
when you were a young person in Nairobi, you were only 3,000 of you. Now there's 4 million.
Eric, I wasn't born in 1920.
No?
Okay, just so that we say.
In 1920, there were 5 people.
They had the whole town to themselves.
Yes.
Sawa. The French say what? Touché.
Ndio?
Hiyo nimewacha.
Yeah, tutashare.
Hiyo. Mimi kuisha wa?
Acha.
Ndu.
Tuambie hii maneno.
If we're looking at what's happening in Kenya, 13 people tested positive from a sample size of 363 in the last 24 hours. Still on our COVID watch and seeing what's happening 2 years after the first case was found in Kenya. March 15th, 2020 is when we saw the first. And so 2.5 years after that, looking at much lower levels, much lower in terms of numbers when it comes to COVID-19. And so now Kenya's positivity rate is, a smaller sample size, a larger number, but still under 10% and likely to keep dwindling. The focus continues to be on China. We'll look at that in a minute. 654,151,303 total cases, of which 6,660,000 and 5 have resulted in death over the last, again, 2.5 to 3 years since the first case of COVID was found in 2019, December. All right. And so we're looking at actually 3 years since the first case of COVID was found in the world. And it's 3 years since then. I believe it was December 19th is the first one that we saw. China has deactivated its national COVID tracking app. Remember what it was. It was really serious. You couldn't go to the supermarket. You couldn't go to the pharmacy. You couldn't go anywhere without having the code on your phone talking about your status, whether it was that you had been tested positive 24 hours ago whether you've received the vaccine, whether you've been in quarantine, etc., etc. China has now said, all right, guys, deactivate it. You're free to move around, basically. The national app has been in operation for 3 years. It went offline at the end of yesterday. It's the latest policy change that signals Beijing is abandoning its controversial zero-COVID policy, strategy. The move is highly symbolic, but will have a huge impact on people's daily lives because of the local app still in use in cities across China. The state-run communications itinerary card app, which uses phone signals to track whether someone has traveled to an area considered to be high risk, was seen as a central part of China's zero-COVID policy. People were required to enter phone numbers in the app, and in order to produce a green arrow, so if you were green, you can go. If that means that you were all right COVID-wise. If it turned red, that means, you are a person of interest. So they will not let you move, exactly. So now China said, you know what? We don't need this anymore. The question is, did China think that it was time, or has China bowed to pressure?
Pressure from the people.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the question that lingers in many minds.
The people are China.
The people are China.
Precisely.
And has it been a latent desire to break free from what many have called totalitarianism and authoritarianism, and it's now presenting itself in the protests against the COVID measures?
Who refers to this government as the
Western world? Let's not even mince words.
Totalitarian.
Yeah, teetotaling is something totally different, but all right. Who refers to them as this? The Western world, namely the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, those countries. Let's not even mince it, but that's what it is.
And if it is so
what?
Well,
yeah, I mean, okay, it is so. If we take that view that it is that thing which you mentioned, then
the dalili of a falling totalitarian government.
Fallen how? It's a people's government. Now, people's government.
People's Republic of China.
Yeah, Dio. People's Republic. All the other countries you mentioned are not people republics. Okay? So, if the people have said one thing, and the people who have chosen leaders, and the people who the leaders
the people have said through these riots, the people are saying that they're actually not happy with the government.
So the people who were represented, who represent the people and who were elected, remember elected by the people, have said it is okay.
That what happens?
That's what you're saying.
No, they've said it's not okay. And that is why...
What is not okay?
They're saying that the way in which the government has handled this...
Who is saying?
These few people.
So by way of the protests, the inference by the media of the countries that I've spoken about just now are basically saying that the protests have shown that people are actually not okay with the way in which the government has handled this COVID policy. And it is a deeper message to say that generally COVID is just giving rise to the people actually saying that they are not okay with the authoritarianism with which Ping rules.
The people are saying, or it is being reported that the people are saying.
I'm telling you that the media is saying that these riots are showing you what the people really feel.
It's okay. When the people of the UK demonstrated and took to the streets for weeks in London, the totalitarian government of the United Kingdom did not listen to the people.
No, it didn't.
This one is responsive government.
When there were protests about wearing masks in the US, the totalitarian state governments of those particular states, what did they do?
They said you will now only wear masks in federal buildings.
So, what are we talking about?
It's 19 minutes after 6. I think my prediction was off by a month.
Which one?
That she will lift these measures by mid-November. It's happening in mid-December.
No, you are right.
Okay.
You are very right. What you're seeing is the culmination of something which
had
started in November. You were spot on, guy. You didn't miss a thing.
Are you online? Let's hear where you are locked in from. Let's take a look at the weather forecast. We will do the shout out shortly. Good morning, 19 after 6.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The adults in the room.
I've seen some marriages, relationships, cohabitings struggle because there was no independence of the relationship.
it needs a certain level of intelligence. You need to reach a place where you know yourself, and again, you're not feeding off society.
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not.
Tune in to Adults in the Room every Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
The adults in the room will help you stay winning. Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We saw a bit of a drizzle in Nairobi this morning, likely to continue with mostly cloudy conditions through Tuesday. Nairobi then will see highs of 26 and lows of 16. Looking into other parts of the country, we will see cloudy conditions into Nakuru at 13, highs of 24 and lows of 12. It's cloudy at 14 in Nyeri, highs of 22 and lows of 12. Clear conditions in Eldoret at 13 with highs of 23. It's raining in parts of Mombasa at 25, highs of 31 today, and we'll see highs of 31 in Malindi, where it's sunny at 28. Light rain at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 27 and lows of 19. And at 16, Kakamega is cloudy, highs of 27 and lows of 15. Rain showers at 18 in Kampala, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 32 in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 26. 16 and rain showers as well in Johannesburg, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 32 in a cloudy Lagos at 26. It's raining in Kinshasa at 24, highs of 29 and lows of 23. And we're looking at minus 4 degrees in Beijing this afternoon. It's sunny and going to highs of minus 2 and lows of minus 11. Looking out into Paris, it's minus 3 and clear, highs of 1 and lows of minus 3, and minus 1 and clear in London. My goodness, highs of 1 and lows of minus 1. Minus 1 will be the low in a mostly clear New York Monday night. It's 0 at the moment. It'll just go to highs of 4.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM. Nairobi.
All right, 22 minutes after 6. Who is online?
Amos Freeman says he's getting us loud and clear. He says today is in Trans Nzoia County, Saboti, Machu Ward. Okay. Good morning, Amos. Noah Kiganda is tuned in this morning and says, good morning, Jambo, Jambo, Jambo. Matthias Owalo is tuned in from the Czech Republic and he says, Baridi, Reedy, Reedy. Sikunjema. Helikaya Marenya says, good morning, Eric, CT and Ndu. 1U, guys. Just 1U. Tuned Kamakawa from Outer Ring. Ndu has 1U.
Oh, 1U. I was wondering what is 1U. What is the beef? Wagyu.
You know, you actually got me. You got me confused there for a minute.
Really?
No, 1U.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There were kung fu movies in my youth.
Wagyu.
Yeah, and there was a guy, Wagyu. That guy used to fly.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And do all sorts of things while still flying.
In this case, I was referring to the alphabet.
Okay.
Ndu has 1U.
Okay.
The other name.
So not totally 1U, it's 1U.
1U.
All right. You moja.
Singular. All right. Waithera Njoroge says good morning. And Timothy Igamba Wapasha is locked in this morning. Victor Bulalo. Where's Victor gone? Oh, there he is. This team full of wisdom, he says. Benson Mumo Pamoja. Dennis Sige is tuning from Kisumu City this morning. We see you. Hey, Edu. You're very busy this morning. Bright and shiny. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. My goodness. Many people online this morning. Mse Junisado is tuned in from Thika. Good morning, the Situation Room. Ndu. It's the second day of Christmas. I'll hook you up in a minute. Don't even worry about it. Have a lovely day to you too. Jambo Mingi, Vihiga is tuned in. That's where Ayuya Steve is. France, UK, Belgium equals the Aristocrats Republic, the Lords. And China equals the People's Republic. This is what Kaizen is saying this morning, in case you didn't know. Tia says, good morning, my people. Waiting for the difference making. Well, good morning to you. Outer U and Barbers Mudangari Drive, opposite Safaricom specifically, is where Museveni Wilberforce is. Allah. Micah Aluda Aliaka says, good morning. Good conversation on the Situation Room. That was yesterday. Indeed, it was a good one to be part of. And we see you all this morning. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. Karibuni Sana. Good morning.
Welcome, City. The proverb.
Yes. And guess what?
Oh, here we go.
Actually, indeed. Here we go. I am doing the thing, my man. And my lady.
From your Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra with S Pen.
You have got it completely right. If it was an exam, brother, it would be 10 out of 10. And you'd be promoted to the next class. Right. A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything.
A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything.
C'est vrai.
In a time not too long ago, we talked about a proverb similar to this one, yet it was from another country. Yes. So it looks like these people think the same. They've seen that sometimes ignorance is not necessarily just all bliss. Being ignorant and acknowledging it can be a plus, not necessarily a minus.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is still from Equatorial Guinea.
We are still in the country of Equatorial Guinea, whose capital is Malabo. Yes, of Teodore, whose son is also called Teodore, and whose son is also called Obiang.
And Nguema.
And he's also called Nguema.
And Obiang is also
and now him is called Mangi.
Yes, exactly. That's now his personal name. Yeah, personal.
Mangwe.
Yes, just to distinguish the two. And he has the distinction of being the country's vice president. Yes.
That is now his position.
Yes, and his father has understood that leadership is something that must not be taken lightly. It must span several decades for it to be true leadership. Yes, from 1979 to now. Yes, the man is still the president of the country. Yes.
Very good.
And here they are referring to the president of China as a dictator. How many years has that guy been in power? Has it even been 3 decades?
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
You're going to sing it properly.
No.
Nope. The Standard Insider, www.standardmedia.co.ke. Have you logged in yet? Have you subscribed to the Standard Insider? Because the Standard Insider gives you all the inside stories. For 199 bob, what's on the front pages?
On the front page of the Standard this morning, hits and misses of Ruto's 90 days. President used Jamhuri Day podium to give a scorecard of his administration, promising to do more. But a number of his campaign pledges are yet to be met 10 days to their deadline. So, all right, we'll be having a conversation about that this morning. Raila criticizes a new attempt to change the constitution. Okay. And the GMO deal to top Kenya-US talks. We know that people have been invited to certain places to have a conversation with certain people. Okay. So that apparently is going to top the conversation. A CNN hero, Chaboy, feted for taking technology to the villages. That was a good thing to see. Chaboy has touched the lives of many children in Mogotio by enabling them access computers and the internet. And for this, she will receive close to 80 million shillings in awards and grants. Also on the Standard, the dark secrets of the British Empire that maimed, killed, and overtaxed Kenyans. Doom.
Wow.
On the front page of The Nation, Ruto's plan to lower food prices. The high cost of living is still atop the agenda of the 2022 general election. Headlined. And this headlined the president's Jamhuri address as he outlined a 3-phase approach to tackling the challenge. It's covered on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of The Nation, and we'll look into that. KCP results will be out next week, says CS Machogu. It will be interesting to see because parents are anxious as to where their children will go. Raila Odinga's wife is called Ida Odinga. And she's on The Nation today speaking of those who dined in our home and then betrayed us. That's on page 10. On the back page of The Nation, we're looking at this schools issue. Results will be out next week. And the Education Ministry says they have done everything they can, or they did everything they could to guard against cheating.
Okay.
Kuppet is also having an issue and saying, the marking of the calendar, we are not agreeing with the date. Well, it's a little bit too late for that, isn't it? Because KCSE is ongoing. They will mark the exam and everybody will know the results before the 24th of January. So this one that you're saying is what? They're saying that, I'll give you that story later, but they're not, they're not happy.
They're not happy.
Again. Seems to be an unhappy lot.
Oh,
recently.
yeah. City, do you have the Star on the Business Daily?
My people.
Mbano.
I told you.
They went on holiday.
Somehow it rains, sometimes it doesn't rain, and then they're not there.
And then it doesn't pour.
Yes, I thought I had a plan B. Plan B also hadn't received the paper. So I don't know what was happening.
Plan B was rained on as well.
Plan B functions in a shelter, so, it's unlikely that the rain would affect, but it might affect the person who was delivering.
To Plan B.
I actually stopped asking what happens and how the delays occur. If it has occurred, because one is before the other, so you pass by Plan A, not there. Then you go to Plan B, still not there.
You keep it moving, man.
And you just keep it moving. You say, however, I have
the East African.
Thank you so much. All is not lost, folks. All is not lost.
What is the headline in the East African?
Right.
Better late than never.
Bang, middle. DR Congo, more sanctions, blame. European Union goes for 8 people in it terms warmongers, while US criticizes neighboring country over alleged continued support of M23. The country that they are blaming is actually Rwanda. Okay? Now, this is a story that if you want to speak the truth to, isn't as straightforward as people... Let's put it this way. It's as straightforward as a hairpin bend, okay? That perhaps would give it... yes. Then there is Juba NSS use business to check dissent. Report says spy agency, that's a spy agency, is in all major sectors protecting commercial interests through repression and brutality. That, my friend, is in southern Sudan.
Where?
The equivalent of NIS is known for, is reported to function through using these particular tools, repression and brutality.
Okay.
Right.
28 minutes to 7. Let's take a break. Take a look at the traffic. We'll be looking at the newspaper stories in detail shortly. Have you bought your Kiwi shoe polish? Black shoe polish, to be precise. Wajua ile kitu unafanya? Unanunua. Unaangalia chini ya lid. Unapata code. Unatuma code to *459 *5#. And you could win airtime or data immediately. And then you get into the draw for 35,000 shillings worth of school fees.
Indeed.
A winner a week for 30, how many weeks?
36.
Hey, those are many. Higher.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In select Samsung stores countrywide.
All right, what has changed in half an hour? Looking at a bit of traffic that started on Mombasa Road and is heading out into the city. But more importantly, let's look at what's happening on Jogo Road, heading out towards Landis. The busy hive of activity has started again on Landis. We're going to see in and outbound traffic for a while. We didn't see any traffic on the Thika Superhighway yesterday. We're not seeing any right now. What we're seeing is going towards Pangani is where you see a build-up, and then coming towards Muthaiga Square, coming off of Kiambu Road is where you'll see some action there as well. All right, apart from that, folks have still not woken up from, yesterday where, they were sleeping. So let's wait and see what that looks like. But you might want to get out now if you have an intention of being in the city or out about your business in good time. We'll keep an eye on things this morning. Remember, the roads are slippery, so folks, please be as careful as you can so you arrive safe. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Are you ready? Okay. Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Which one?
Where to begin?
You tell us.
It is here.
Yeah.
It was not on the
The main.
It was not on the front page. Hey, wait, God, help me now.
Carry on.
Okay, you tell us another story, then I will... here we go. It's on page 25 of the Standard. A woman's bizarre death in Saudi Arabia has shocked the family. It doesn't stop, guys. George Otieno had missed his wife, Judith Adhiambo, 37, and decided to call her to know when she would return home from the Middle East. Little did he know, the November 27th call that lasted for over an hour, where the jovial Adhiambo promised him that she was to board a plane from Saudi Arabia and arrive in Kenya the following day, was the last one. Otieno says Adhiambo requested to speak to their 4 children and her sister before disconnecting the call. She spoke to our children for hours and promised them they would see her the following day with goodies, according to Otieno. Otieno, who had been taking care of the 4 children since Adhiambo left in June, was relieved, and he knew his wife and breadwinner in the family would return home soon. The following day, he recalls, he was called, and the most disturbing news from someone he did not know was relayed to him. Someone called me and said that my wife had died. And how could she be dead? It was barely 24 hours since we last spoke, and she promised to come home. He says he has lost a confident, jovial, caring person who took care of him, their mother, and their children. She was the provider in the family and took the initiative and opportunity to move abroad on our family's behalf. The trip she made in June, according to Otieno, was successful, and a Kenyan agency helped her secure a job in Saudi Arabia as a domestic worker. She sent her first salary, and we went shopping with our children. Our lives had begun to improve. However, it was barely 2 months after Adhiambo and her employer had a disagreement, and she left the home and returned to her agency holding room. When he was called, Otieno heard that she fell inside a bathroom in her holding room and died.
What?
I heard that she went to the bathroom to brush her teeth, but she overstayed. Her roommates got suspicious and went to check on her, only to find her on the ground. For over 2 weeks, the family has been mourning and waiting for the government to bring Adhiambo home. Vincent Oduong, Adhiambo's brother-in-law, says they received the news of her death in a very disturbing and informal way. Her colleagues texted someone who used to ferry her kids to school. They did not contact us directly. He says they had to push, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and her agency took up the matter with their cooperation. They said, we are traumatized because we were told to wait through a time frame. We need to mourn, bury her, heal, and then prepare her children for school in January. Why this was interesting, pricked, is that the stories that we've been hearing for the last, however long, have been people who've either become sick or died in the hands of their employer. This lady actually left
her employer,
right, and was ready to come home. The circumstances under which she died could have happened to anybody, right? The circumstances under which she's alleged to have died could have happened to anybody. Slipped and fall in the bathroom, hit the back of your head, and that's it.
Bathroom where?
In the holding room. So remember, she had left her employer.
Yeah.
Because they had a disagreement.
So she was at the agency's holding room.
Yes. So she'd gone to brush her teeth, slippery floor, whatnot, fell in the bathroom and died. Was motionless. Her roommates are wondering, okay, what's going on here? She's been in here for too long. They go, they get her and find that she's on the floor. She's unconscious. They found out later that she had passed. But it's going to be, you know what? It's going to be wrapped up in the statistics of every other person who's gone to Saudi Arabia and come back in a box. The details of this are very, very different from the other stories that we hear. That somebody may have been deprived food, they were dehydrated, they were malnourished, or there was some kind of physical harm that was meted upon them by the employer. But this one is very, very different. She had her plane ticket, she had everything, she was coming home.
She was on her way home.
Yes.
Slipped and died in the bathroom.
Yep.
Hey. Okay. City.
Yes, please.
Somebody called Tony Malesi has sent me a photo of the front page of the Star. He says, Onyesha mzee. Patia City.
Thank you so much, Tony.
I'm feeling better.
So I'm sending it to you so that you can tell us what's on the front page of the Star.
I'm sending it to you on your phone, City.
whose phone could he send it to other than my own if he wanted me to read it?
Telling you this thing.
Check your phone.
You know why I'm telling you
Today.
this. Today, check your phone today. Not on Saturday where you say, hey, Eric, I saw that. No, now.
Leo. There's an interesting advert that's been taken out on page 8 of The Nation by people who are calling themselves agvg.info. www.agvg.info. Okay? If you go to their website, you find some other stories. It's a letter to the president. Dear Mr. President, how a single daring cartel entrenched at the National Land Commission are working to rob the Kenyan exchequer of 1.16 billion shillings.
Yeah.
Your Excellency, we wish to first congratulate you, blah, 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 blah. You know those things that people do. We fondly remember 2 key issues from your campaign there, the zeal to break up state capture and corruption cartels. And number 2, the promise to turn every county in this country into a formidable and sustainable surplus-producing unit of state. Okay? We believe that these 2 legacy footprints, when implemented in tandem, have the unique properties of a potential socio-economic development catalyst that will ensure every Kenyan can earn a decent living and blah, 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 blah. We find these considerations as enshrined in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto and the proposed bottom-up approach to governance as being worthy of great mind, and so do kindly find our perfect acquiescence herein. Your Excellency, this is where the letter starts. These are trying economic times. The Kenyan government cannot afford to lose tens of billions of shillings to graft cartels and their proxies. Your Excellency, to achieve your most noble promises to the Kenyan people, this must stop. Subsequently, please find below the alarming claims targeting the National Land Commission at the behest of the aforesaid cartel. The single scheme will defraud the Kenyan exchequer a staggering 11.6 billion shillings. And then they list some 4 claims. Claim number 1, targeting SGR land compensation. The cartel proxy claims to own approximately 60% of Mazera's area. They claim 8 billion shillings, inclusive of interests. Claim number 2, targeting Mombasa International Airport. The same cartel proxy again claims to own an access road through the Mombasa International Airport runway.
Through.
Okay.
Through the runway.
Now, let me ask you. Okay. So
allegedly, according to these guys.
Okay.
The value, who's the victim here? The Kenya Airports Authority. How much? 295.9 million shillings, inclusive of interest claims. They wanted the National Land Commission to pay. Claim number 3, targeting the Kenya Forest Service. Astonishingly, the very same cartel proxy also claims he owns Miritini Mangrove Forests, Foreshore Conservancy, and wants Kenya Railways Corporation to pay via NLC for apparently using his land. Who's the victim here? The Kenya Railways Corporation. How much is the cartel claiming? 1.44 billion shillings, allegedly. Claim number 4, targeting the Kenya National Highways Authority. In another daring and shocking attempt, the aforementioned cartel proxy targeting land compensation from the Mombasa Southern Bypass project has been awarded 1 billion shillings by most bizarre means, what amounts to an interim judgment of sorts, an outright and total miscarriage of justice to graft. Who are the victims? African Gas and Oil Company, Miritini Freeport Limited, Creek Port Commission, and the amount claimed 1.42 billion shillings, total 11.6 billion shillings. Now, these people are faceless.
The people who wrote the letter.
The people who have taken up the adverts.
All right, okay.
They're faceless, but they say if you want more information, visit www. You can do this. www.agvg.info. Taken a half-page ad on the paper claiming there's a cartel that is out to defraud the National Land, working with the National Land Commission to defraud the taxpayer and the Kenyan people. Blah, blah,
Agency
blah.
for Global Veracity and Growth. The truth and nothing more. Kuna mrembo hapo kwa nini. Alafu tunaona wengine hapa. The Joho Papers. View the Joho evidence. Justice in our time.
So it's a vugu-vugu of sorts, huh?
It's a vugu-vugu. The Kahir papers. What again? Public sector operational monitoring. They've spelled monitoring wrong, but it's okay. Analysis and preventive is something. And then community advocacy and justice. These are the guys who fight for you. You know, justice. We are proud to help shape and improve the ethos and moral structure of our society. Moreover, we do it for free, unapologetically. So they've started to, you know, cast the light on some of these things that were done in the dark.
Where?
All our work is evidence-based and thoroughly researched. Thus, AGVG remains the boldest graft preventative network on the scope of the globe. We speak truth to power. Join the fight today and volunteer. We work with real business people, commercial lawyers, and ordinary citizens to bring to light loopholes to graft opportunities before they occur. It's the Agency for Global Veracity and Growth. It is an international advocacy group, and this is the Kenya chapter.
Okay. Yeah, they've got our attention.
They have. They seem to have combined what very many civil society organizations do. Yes, because there are civil society organizations that deal with these very same things. Perhaps not a combination of all of them, but the same thing. Yes. Yeah. So they've entered the fray, have they not?
Yes,
they have.
Well, welcome. Yeah. The more the merrier, isn't it?
That is the phrase.
Now let me honor the gift that was sent to me this morning.
Yes.
By our
Yes,
my brother Tony. Tony, thank you very much. Star headline, Ruto, I have fulfilled 5 pledges in 90 days.
Telling you.
Okay. Cites police reforms.
Number 1.
Number 2, agriculture subsidies.
Number 3.
Appointment of judges.
Number 4.
That one I'll have to read the whole article
too. So police reforms is firing Kinoti.
No, and appointing engineer.
And appointing engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
And also
police reforms.
Yes. No. There was more to it. They also
disbanding the
disbanding blah blah blah.
Yes. That didn't end there. Then their monies now come
their own.
Oh, money now goes. They have
personal.
Those are 4 things towards reforms.
Yes, exactly. And
right.
Judiciary also, their money, personal, theirs. Okay.
See what?
Personal. It's personal money. Now the money comes to them directly, just like the police.
Okay.
Judiciary.
Oh,
personal.
Oh, got it. I was like, what?
Yes, and in agriculture, I don't know what they did, which was personal to agriculture.
Well, they let nini.
Fertilizer subsidy.
They did.
Cheap fertilizer.
They did.
Well, they let the fertilizer dog.
Okay.
Our friend from Kericho, Joel, remember he told us he had applied and he had not received. In fact, Joel, please today call us and let us know.
Yeah.
Olepata fertilizer. Tell us about it. Well, you have to tell us about teachers complaining.
Yeah, Kupeta is not, is not very happy once again. Kupet protests over the KCSE marking calendar. The plan by the Exams Council to start marking the Form 4 national exams during the festive season has sparked protests from a teachers' union and examiners who want the dates changed. But of course, you want your Christmas holiday, n'est-ce pas? The Kenya National Examinations Council, my friends KNEC, has directed the examiners to report to the marking centres on December 21st, 4 days before Christmas. However, some of the examiners and officials of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, want the date moved to January 2nd next year. Led by KUPPET Executive Secretary Salama Inenyi, they are lamenting the plan to start marking on the 21st, and it will prevent teachers involved from enjoying Christmas and New Year festivities with their families. Through a communication, NEC has asked examiners who will mark the KCSE exam to report to Muranga TTC on December 21st and attend a coordination exercise. Good golly. Therefore, the examiners will proceed to the Kenya High School on December 31st to start the actual marking. It is this communication that has angered the examiners and KUPPET officials who are terming the move as what? Dictatorial.
What?
Yes. Yesterday,
which
Mr.
part of it is dictatorial?
Yote.
Without public participation.
I mean, surely. And then it's Christmas.
What are these people talking about?
You're telling us to go and mark papers
and you, where will you be? You'll be eating chicken. and then we'll be inside TTC.
No.
It is this communication that has angered the examiners. Yesterday, Nyeri led the officers in questioning the decision to rush the meeting of examiners, yet marking takes only 2 weeks. He said the examiners started receiving the invitation letters last week. Doesn't make... Why? And then you only tell them last week. No. And they've made plans. KNEC has this dictatorial tendency of coming up with policies and guidelines without consultation. This time around, they want our senior examiners to miss the Christmas celebrations. This is very unfair. He said usually the marking takes 2 weeks to complete. We don't understand the hurry with which KNEC wants to release the results of these exams.
Yeah, we can start on the 4th of January and we'll be done.
Before schools open. We can start on the 4th. It takes 2 weeks. We'll be done by what? 18 plus 4? The 4 plus is 18th.
You know,
Still enough time. A week for you to choose.
The timetable of the exams, many things also changed.
It's not fair.
Yes.
It's Christmas.
Are they not the same people who set the timetable for the exams?
Extra. This is basically a negotiation.
Thank you very much.
It's a shakedown.
It's Christmas time, Bwana. You can't just pay me the same 4,000.
And then on top of that, you want me to go and be holed somewhere in Muranga with everybody else and I've left my family? No.
Yeah, but that's how marking is done. You are holed up in a school with everybody else.
But not on
Christmas Day.
No. Never on Christmas. It was always, again, the timetable determined this. You would have that before Christmas.
Now imagine you're telling people to go on the 21st. They stay there until the 31st when the marking actually begins. Why? Because you want them to do reconnaissance exercises. Please. If I was in Kupet, I would also be angry. I mean, what's that? Kabisa. Na hizi ndogo ndogo inakuja inaweka nini?
Ndogo.
Anyway, this is how we see...
Sikidogo.
Yes, sikidogo kabisa. But the operationalization of some of the contents of our constitution at play once again. Yes, we want to see how expansive this notion of public participation can go. Yes, this is yet a new chapter.
Allah?
Yes.
Deal with stakeholder. It's called stakeholder management.
Yes, and stakeholder engagement.
But you know what is going to happen? 21st. Tutakuwa Muranga.
Of course. Mambo ni kuongea. Mambo ni kuongea bana. The violence. Higher, let me tell you something. You Kenyans, you owe Kenya Power 27.3 billion shillings worth of electricity that you consumed in the financial year to June 2022 and you did not pay for it. Shame on you.
How is that?
You're exposing the utility company to financial difficulties. Then you go. Most of this debt had not been paid for more than 3 months heading to June by heavy consumers such as county government, ministries, departments and agencies, parastatals, industrial customers, as well as some household users, especially those fitted with postpaid meters. Some 14.3 billion shillings of this debt was outstanding for more than 3 months. 2.11 billion shillings stood unpaid for between 30 days and 90 days, and 10 billion was due for less than 30 days. Kenya Power has decided, hii ni kazi mingi bwana. 14.9 billion shillings of this 27.3 billion, we are writing it off.
What?
Hii ni kazi mob, bwana kutafuta pesa.
Apana.
14.9 billion shillings.
What's the real story? I don't believe that for a single second.
Meaning that while customers paying will be a welcome boost to its finances, the company does not expect to manage to recover that debt. They've just looked, 3 months these guys have not paid. We're going to a fourth. Just forget it.
Eric, does this thing make sense to you?
Just forget about it. On the outstanding debt, 60% is owed by domestic customers, 30% by small and medium-sized enterprises, and 10% by big customers. However, these numbers mark an improvement from the previous financial year, where Kenya Power's outstanding debt from its customers hit 29 billion in the financial year 2020, with the company writing off 15 billion shillings. Unpaid power bills have been a headache for the utility firm for decades, but the problem has been accelerated in recent years by what? Rising cost of what? Living. This has affected the utility's working capital and pushed its liquidity challenges, forcing the company to rely on overdrafts and commercial loans to settle its financial obligations. For example, Kenya Power had a negative working capital of 55 billion shillings in June, even if it was an improvement of 10.7 billion from a negative working capital of 66 billion in the previous year. Sasa hii mashida yote, you people are consuming power and you are not doing what? You are not paying.
This story is not about power consumption.
It's about what? The 10 billion.
This story is about justifying why it is Kenya Power seems to be operating in the red. Yes, so you're providing fertile ground so that that particular logic can be consumed easily. We are in the red because we have written off. We are in the red because people haven't paid. Kenya Power customers are known, for heaven's sake. You know who
not paying.
You know.
You know who they are.
Yes, you know exactly who they are.
And you're talking about 3 months, just one financial year.
Yes. These aren't these phantoms. These are not like ghost workers, okay? You know them.
You know who they are.
Yes. It's this. And then you're telling us that because of the problems you have, you are now writing off your debt. Does that make sense to you? You have a problem with liquidity, you have a problem with money. So your solution is to write off what you are owed.
Yes.
Okay. That equation, can someone explain to me how that works?
It's working on your balance sheet.
Your balance sheet will look pretty good.
No.
Reduce your liabilities and your balance sheet starts to even out.
That's creative accounting, for heaven's sake. If you are owed money, where in the world do you decide that you're going to sort out your problems by writing off what you're owed?
Siti, let me ask you a question that you often do pose yourself.
Yes, please.
Where's the problem?
Here there's a problem. This one is a problem because the Kenya Power saga just never seems to come to an end. There's always some other issue that we hadn't quite seen or we hadn't quite heard or we hadn't quite understood. What has been admitted today is this. Kenya Power knows what they're owed and it's in the billions.
And they know who owes it.
Precisely.
Yes.
But they have decided to write it off.
Because it's what? A lazy man's approach to getting things done and done right once and for all.
No, it isn't really.
Or lack of goodwill.
I'm going to throw this thing really out there. How do we know that they actually even owed this money? How do we know that these people actually haven't paid and we are being told that they are owed and this hasn't been paid? And
because somebody has chopped the money.
How do we know?
Chopped the money.
Auditors. Kenya Power is listed. Kenya Power.
Before Enron came into being and the saga around Enron occurred, I believe what auditors say. Since then,
nothing.
That's when the so what comes in. Okay, the auditors have said so.
Auditors are looking and auditors have checked and auditors have seen, okay, so this one is power consumed, power billed, power not paid.
No. There are people who conduct businesses of what you call forensic investigations. This, we are owed, we have paid, we have not been paid, we have received, we have not received, we owe, we're in the red. This thing needs to be investigated. And the auditors, whatever they have said, auditors go by what you give them, what you present to them. That's what they look at.
They report what you say.
Yes. But the books are yours. It's you who gives it to the auditors.
If you think about it though, City, parastatals and ministries and all, you've heard very many cases, or even university, you've had very many cases of these parastatals not remitting KRA, not remitting. They deduct employees.
The statutory deductions.
Yes. And they don't remit. Do you think they're paying Kenya Power?
I do not doubt that the money is owed. My argument is three-pronged.
Why write it off?
Why are you solving a problem by letting go of money that you are owed? That one is number one.
Number two?
Red flag is popping all over the place, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. I don't understand it. Number two, you say it's the auditors who have come up with this suggestion. I'm saying, are they forensic auditors? If they are not, get forensic auditors to actually look into this thing so that we understand with clarity. Because this story of Kenya Power, man, it has gone on for decades.
Forever.
Yes. And yet, the customers of Kenya Power keep growing. And they're saying the vast majority of people who owe money are what? 60% domestic consumers. Just in the same way I asked for the ethics and corruptions and other agents that deal with this thing to audit the books and to look at the accounts of every individual who works for these road agencies. Same with Kenya Power, the employees.
Yes.
Because if it's domestic, there are games being played.
Something
isn't right here, for heaven's sake.
Keep it here for more conversations. Coming up in the next hour, we talk about Camry and the work that's being done. Also, we'll tell you about Samsung and all the gadgets, beautiful gadgets, and how you can get access to them. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. The government is on the forefront in addressing the high cost of living, says President William Ruto, adding that these will be handled in 3 phases.
This high cost of living, we are tackling it in 3 phases. Our first agenda is to ensure that we encourage farmers to access affordable fertilizer so that we can enable our farmers to be able to enhance their productivity in our journey towards making food affordable in our republic. Our second agenda is that we are going to import 10 million bags of assorted types of food, including maize, so that we can close the gap temporarily because of the harvest occasioned by climate change. And thirdly, we are now in the process of working with the private sector to ensure that we import 300,000 metric tons of fertilizer for the planting season that is going to come from January going into April, to make sure that our productivity is enhanced so that we can produce enough food and reduce the challenges of the high cost of living in our republic.
The head of state in his Jamhuri Day speech said that in order to enhance government service, all services will be digitized by next year.
We intend to transfer 85% of the remaining government services to the digital space so that every Kenyan, wherever they are, they do not have to get into any bus to go to get government services or queue in any line to access government services. It will now be possible in 6 months, when we finish the digitization of 5,000 government services, it will be possible for Kenyans to access government services from their comfort of their homes and the workplace using the internet, because government services will be available on that platform.
This route is expected in the U.S. to attend the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, which offers an opportunity for African leaders to shape their continent's partnership with the U.S. in trade, economy, security and political relations. The head of state left the country yesterday. Public health workers in Mombasa County called off their strike due to a court order. The workers, through their respective unions, issued a 7-day strike notice to the county government, demanding 2 months' salary arrears and remittances of statutory deductions, among other grievances.
How can you treat a patient and mentally you are not healthy? Physically you're not healthy. Socially you're not healthy. How do you do that? Nitakuwa instead, because I'll give you the wrong medicine. I am not motivated. I'll give you the wrong medicine. You treat me, I treat you. Give me my rights, I treat you.
We are union leaders and our language is different from his. He is the administrator. If he's doing administration, we are doing unionism. He should know how to approach us. But if he's going to get emotional, then that may be a bad seat for him. Actually, we had been patient enough. We had been going to those offices several times. By virtue of us calling a strike notice, it's not by accident or anything. We have exhausted. Whenever you go for meetings, you are given a timeline. Ninataka hii meeting iwe dakika 10. Are you getting the point? Nataka hii meeting iwe short. So tukienda, we don't talk. Ni kama vile TV nakwambia, huwezi kuijibu. Unasikiza news and you walk away.
Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir went court in order to avert the strike, but promised to do everything within his power to ensure that the health workers are paid and that no services is interrupted.
Kama ni tatizo la mshahara tumelitatua. Hata mahakama imetoa order ya kuwa hakuna strike that is going to go on. But even before discussions finish, mimi nitakuwa nimemaliza ya mambo ya mishahara. But we need to maximize on our workforce. Hatuwezi kuwa tunalipa huku ikawa watu hawapati huduma. Si ni sawa namna hiyo?
Now, Judy Muthoni, the mother of baby Travis Minor, who died after a fork jump was lodged into his head, has dismissed allegations that he was killed by his father following a family dispute. This comes after the Kenyatta National Hospital CEO Evanson Kamuri told the Health Senate Committee that Travis may have died due to differences between his parents. Kamuri told the committee that after Muthoni received news of her son's death, she was heard saying that the folk jembe that was meant for her had killed her son. Earlier, Muthoni said that her son was hit on the head by his 6-year-old brother while they were playing. And Kenyans who borrowed from the Hustler Fund so far paid 1 billion shillings. Cooperatives and MSME CS Samuel says Kenyans have also repaid 1.1 billion shillings from some 7.5 billion shillings disbursed. The CS says that over 15 million Kenyans have been registered, 3.7 million shillings saved, and 1.1 million Kenyans have borrowed more than once. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The Spice Newswire is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Go ahead and get yours today. It's your time.
Starting to build up in different parts of the city. Let's look at North Airport Road going out towards Outer Ring. We're seeing some traffic there. Folks are trying to get then off Manyanja, off Kangundo. It's heavy as you approach the junction towards Outer Ring. And they're also seeing traffic then touching on Juja Road getting into the city. Survey is where you see the heaviest of it on the Thika Superhighway getting out towards Pangani. And some traffic has started also on Kiambu Road. Jogo Road is heavy. It's going to get out towards Landis, which is heavier still, going out towards Kamkunji. That's where we're seeing the most of it right now. We'll take a look at Ngong Road, where traffic is also starting to just build up, and we're not looking at anything stand still yet. A few minutes after 7:30 is likely when we're likely to see more of this. Still, for now, you should be all right. Let's talk on SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning and welcome to the second hour of The Situation Room this morning. We're live on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, online on YouTube and Facebook. It's the 13th day of December 2022. Ndu?
Yeah.
It's a what day of Christmas?
It's the second day of Christmas.
Sing it.
On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
Partridge, I get the pear tree.
At the what doves?
2 turtle doves.
What are those?
They're birds.
They are doves of us.
Are they turtles or doves?
They're turtle doves.
Okay. Do they have tortoise doves as well?
Oh, turtle.
Just turtle?
Yes.
What do they look like? How you distinguish?
They don't look like a turtle. They move around in pairs, apparently.
Ah.
Okay. So now you have a partridge
in a pear tree.
And you have a turtle dove.
You have 2 turtle doves.
2 turtle doves.
Yes.
You're putting them on the same tree.
No, you're not putting them in the same tree. The partridge is in the tree. It's over here. And then you have 2 turtle doves over here.
The turtle doves are in what? What do they perch on?
A cage. I don't know. Your arm. It doesn't matter.
But you have the tree. That's the reason they first give you the tree.
I don't know that
Think.
I don't know that a partridge.
Eric, this is the point where write your own song.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And when you've written that song,
you can come and sing it.
Yes, and the dove can even look like an ostrich if you like.
The turtles.
Are we already on air?
Turtles. Turtles.
Yes, we are.
I would like some water.
Yes, you will get some water.
Thank you.
That's our guest, Dr. Festus Tolo from the Kenya Medical Research Institute. He's here with us as he gets his water. City Muga, using your Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra with S Pen.
Yes.
Your Super AMOLED screen and all those things. How many inches is that screen again?
My friend, 14.6.
14.6 inch screen. It's a laptop.
The thing about it is simply this. I mean, there are tabs and there are tabs. It's the clarity with which you can actually see what it is that you're reading. That's number one. Number two, this S Pen isn't just a pen per se.
Yeah.
You can scribble away. And this tablet has the ability, you've scribbled, you've written in your squiggly handwriting. It can translate that into print. So that yes, it can. So that it actually becomes print and you can then roll it out as you see fit. Okay?
So you scribble and then it's able
just
to...
write the way you normally write. It will do a thing for you and it will be in print. Now that's, yes. But the thing about this that I particularly love is the length of time the battery lasts. 3 days. 3. Like, fully charge today. Tomorrow it'll work. The day after it'll work.
So you charge on Thursday?
Something of that sort. 3 whole days. So, I mean, it's a good traveling companion. But now let's talk about the proverb, shall we?
All right. Take us to Equatorial Guinea.
We are in Equatorial Guinea. Okay? Right. A wise man never knows all. Only a fool knows everything.
A wise man never knows all. Only a fool knows everything.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why in Kiswahili, should somebody refer to you as a mjuaji, it's not a compliment. No. It's not a compliment. Not at all.
Sauti Sol have sung a song where they say tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji, something like that. I remember the exact words. Dr. Festus Tolo is a biomedical research scientist and he's the deputy director at the Kemri Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research, CTMDR. He is here with us this morning. Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conference.
Asante sana. I really feel privileged to be here. Yes.
And we're privileged to have you as well.
No, we are very privileged to have you.
Oh.
Yes.
Indeed. I do. Really privileged to be here.
Ednah will sort you out to the water shortly.
Thank you.
Tell us about this center that you are the deputy director of. Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research.
Yes. Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research at the Kenya Medical Research Institute. This is the center responsible for verifying herbal and traditional medicine in terms of their safety and efficacy and providing information to the relevant organs of our government to identify these therapeutic agents which can be used to manage various diseases in our country. And we do this in collaboration with institutions like the Pharmacy and Poisons Board because they are the ones who register and allow such products to reach the people. And as we do our research, we collaborate quite widely. We collaborate with our universities, national universities, specifically Jomo Kenyatta University of Science and Agriculture. We collaborate with the University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University, and many others like Masinde Muliro University. And also internationally, we collaborate with institutions in India and also institutions in Europe, whereby they help us focus in areas of research which are pertinent in identifying therapies from natural resources so that we are able to quickly look into these products and say or identify the ones which merit to be used as medicine.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is herbal and traditional medicine?
Herbal medicine is medicine which comes from plants. When you go and collect any part of a medicinal plant, there's a medicinal plant and there's just a plant. And you get a portion of this medicinal plant and you prepare something that is herbal medicine. Yes. But when you talk of traditional medicine, then you are talking about medicine prepared following certain routes, mainly cultural routes. Like, for example, if you go to, let me use our Maasais because they are very eloquent on this. The way they prepare their medicine is different from the way they prepare medicine like in Western Kenya, for example. There are certain additions they put in this medicine. It could be a herbal medicine at the beginning, but as it is finalized, there are certain things they add. Like you'll find perhaps the Maasais would add some blood in it. They would add certain things in it to rejuvenate, to make it stronger, and perhaps also make it have a longer shelf life.
Okay.
So that is traditional medicine because it's prepared following certain cultural aspects.
Okay.
So that's the difference. So traditional medicine, herbal medicine, I can prepare herbal medicine.
Yeah.
But I cannot prepare traditional medicine.
Okay, so are we saying that if a plant then has been altered in any way, then prepared to be able to treat a particular thing, then it is traditional medicine? Or if I can give an example of one, maybe you can then classify that as what it would be. I've read recently about a herb in certain parts of Western Kenya that is given to women in labor. It's picked, it's washed, and it's chewed, and that is supposed to help with the contractions, and it actually does, and then that allows this woman to birth faster. What is that?
That is herbal medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, because the way you have explained it, there's nothing added to it apart from that plant itself, that particular part which has been harvested, washed, prepared, and given or prepared in a certain way, maybe boiled, pounded, and given the way it is without any addition. That's herbal medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you start adding other things, like in Western Kenya, there is sometimes there's a product which they get from the ash. Even they use it for cooking. You find that they take that extract and add into medicine, and it improves even the shelf life of the medicine. And sometimes the delivery, it perhaps makes it be absorbed easily and better in the system so that it is more therapeutic. So that is now the difference.
I get it. So traditional medicine is value addition.
Yes.
Of herbal medicine. When you take herbal medicine and then you process in any way, then it becomes now traditional medicine, using traditional methods or knowledge or something like that.
Yes.
So this person who just administers herbs, right, could just be an elder or somebody who just knows, if my child is sick and go and uproot this kind of root, I boil it, I give the child, and their tummy gets better. That is okay.
That's okay.
This other one sounds like a muganga then, or there are so many words and terms of muganga, muchawi, murogi.
Even in English, you say herbalist, but if you cross over the pond, they say this person delves in apothecary. So, I mean...
Which one is it that we're talking about? The one where the person has worn these very many things and they are using a fly whisk and rabbit tail.
I like the way you are trying to describe such persons. They appear in very many forms. Sometimes they even don't dress the normal way.
Yes.
Now, herbal medicine, as I said, and traditional medicine are intertwined. You'll find that the one who is delivering or dispensing herbal medicine is also dispensing traditional medicine, and is very far from what we would refer to as the witch doctor, which I'll explain briefly. The traditional medicine, the person who makes that traditional medicine has certain expertise. Okay. And they are very vast in herbal medicine in terms of the parts which are therapeutic. You know, when you look at a medicinal plant, when it's grown, it's a tree, you need to know the right part to collect. you also need to know the right time to collect it. Then you need to know how to process it and eventually how to present it as medicine. So they are knowledgeable in that. And when now they convert that herbal into some traditional form of medicine, as I'd said earlier, then the same person can decide to add a few things to make it more potent and increase the shelf life. Now, when you come to what we refer to as the witch doctor, a witch doctor is not a herbalist and he's not a traditional medicine practitioner at all. I don't know how I can describe them, because in many instances you find there are people who are not very well understood in terms of even how they present themselves and their medicine. Because when he's diagnosing you, for example, he'll show that he's throwing some shells on the table there, and then he tells you perhaps you're having stomachache or something, and then he says perhaps there's a black cock needed somewhere, and then you throw a few stones here. You see, so that to me is
this
very
is because
strange.
Ndu is not happy with you.
Yeah, he's not happy with you. Maybe somebody, you walked past certain things thrown on the floor, and
Somebody
now
stepped on your shadow.
Yes, somebody stepped on your shadow, and so many other things. So you see, they are very difficult to explain, and that is why also in the scientific arena, it becomes very difficult to identify with such a person as a healer, as somebody who can help. And we are still trying to find out who these people are, because the thing is that we cannot shun away, we cannot run away from what they do, because sometimes they even provide that therapeutic benefit to some people, whereby you find somebody maybe has been healed of certain things. Belief can also heal you anyway. So these are very difficult people to explain, and they are there. And how they get those powers and how they're able to do all those things is still a mystery. We are still trying to research.
So then, the research that goes into traditional and herbal medicine.
Yes.
Because the truth of the matter, Dr. is that these medicines or these treatments, they work for people. Correct. There are many herbalists, traditional medicine healers, who may not have, whose shadow has not darkened the four walls of a university, for example. However, their methods over time have worked. And I'll give an example. My mother is a pharmacist who studied pharmacy and pharmacology. But at the same time, with the medicines that she would dispense, there was the herbal medicine she would talk about. People would use ginger root, for example, for nausea. People would use other herbs for treatment of malaria symptoms and things like that. She studied the science, but the traditional medicine also came into play. What's the meeting point between these two, even if with your research now, to say this has helped generations, still does today? I don't want to call it traditional versus modern, because in modern times we are still using traditional practices. So where is the meeting point, and what is research showing that could be a possible marriage, complementary service between the two?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me try and explain it this way. When we talk of conventional medicine and herbal medicine, what is the source of the conventional medicine? When we see a tablet or a capsule or an injection for that matter, we don't think very deeply as to how it arrived to be a tablet. Most of these conventional medicine are resourced from actually plants, natural products. And therefore, I would say the natural product, the plant, is the template where they are sourced, where medicine is sourced. So when we talk of the pharmacology, when we talk of, the science of looking into these products so that they are seen as therapies which manage diseases, then both the conventional medicine and the herbal medicine are both, medicines. They are both, I don't want to use the word drug, but they are both therapies which are beneficial. And, we need to remember that many, many years ago, before even the colonialists were here, our great-grandfathers used to fall sick and they used to treat themselves. In fact, there are certain communities here in our country who are known to have been doing even head surgery. If you read, you'll really find out that those people exist. So it means that this is knowledge which is not classroom knowledge as we perceive it today. You know, you don't need to be in any university to be a good traditional healer. There are certain things which I think are learned through watching, through experience, and through interest, which our great-grandfathers were very good in. And if you are very keen and what I would say, they will pick you to inherit their knowledge, then they would impart it to you in a way that you'd understand it even better than somebody who's schooled at the university. Why am I saying so? Because the traditional healers we see, they might not appear as very learned to you, but in terms of the medicine they make, if you listen to them keenly as they explain to you how they collected it, how they processed it and prepared it, then you'd see that there's some science in it. When they mix 2 or 3 herbal medicinal plants to make a herbal medicine, for example, it's not arbitrary. They don't just mix because they are mixing. You'll find that one reason why they are mixing, perhaps one is neutralizing some poisonous activities of another, or one is actually synergizing the activity of the other. And that's why they mix. When you find that they are adding something like, ghee, they add some of them add ghee, you find that ghee is doing something. It's maybe picking out certain toxins which are in the medicine and neutralizing it. So they are really great scientists, very knowledgeable in what they are doing. And they don't need to have gone to any school. In fact, in their own domain, they are as good as any professor in any university in terms of what they do. So I don't know whether I'm answering your question, but you see, these are people whom we need to engage, and we need to listen to them very carefully so that we are able to pick this very important, vital knowledge they have, so that we can even document and also see how we can integrate it with our knowledge, the scientific schooled knowledge, and then we see how best we can be able to present the product for the
How does it marry with what then you are taught in School of Medicine and Pharmacy when it comes to diagnosis and prognosis, understanding what symptoms the patient presents with and knowing this could be the cause and identifying this could be the ailment, and then also determining, so then this is the treatment I'm going to put you through and this is the dosage. How do they do that?
Through various means. Like as you mentioned, when you are taught at the School of Pharmacy or Medicine, you are taught certain techniques and you are taught certain information which helps in diagnosis and finding out what the ailments of a person would be. These persons also, through experience and a lot of it, they are able, when you are explaining your condition to them, they are able to find out what could be the problem you're having, through even questioning you also and trying to find out the history of what you're explaining. And they might take you through certain questions which lead to what perhaps you could be suffering, so that they better understand you better, so that they can give you what they feel is going to help you much, much better. So the approach could be different, but the ultimate end, the goal could be the same, even though they have used certain techniques which are not very straightforward in terms of what we understand modern medicine to be in diagnosis. But at the end, what they will have found from their own understanding of your problem could merge and give the same result as a doctor who is looking at you through conventional means.
Natural scientists like yourself, sir, believe that the practice of medicine that you are taught is grounded in science. So it's empirical. It's something, and it goes through processes of peer review. So it isn't as though you come up and decide and everyone agrees with you. It goes through processes that other people have looked into this very same thing and have understood and said, yes, it is so. Now, there are processes that people have used from time immemorial which don't necessarily follow these set rules. I'm thinking of, say, the Far Eastern practice of, say, something like acupuncture, okay, which is supposed to align your chi, whatever that is. Now, I'm looking at homeopathy, okay? I'm looking at touch therapy, Ayurveda as it's called, from India. These are practices that not people have used, people still use, and arguably with positive results. So the time we have isn't enough to get into the very, very fine details of this discussion, but if one were to create a balance and look at what is available, in the recent years, there's been a lot of alternate medicines supposedly from China in the country. People even sell them. And people even claim that they have results which are positive with some of these uncommunicable diseases, specifically cancer. Now, where's the balance? Someone listening and seeking to understand what they should go for. Someone claiming that they understand that some of these practices have positive results. Now, somebody who understands traditional medicine as you do and understands the science-based medicine as well, how do you talk to such individuals and how do you create that balance?
Yeah, thank you. Herbal medicine and traditional medicine, the way it's perceived sometimes confuses most of us because we start from the point where we think it does not work. And then, you only go to seek it when you have tried everything else, and you are like the final point. Now you say, let me also try this traditional medicine or herbal medicine. But that sometimes is not the true way to present traditional medicine. It's not as a final thing which you are just doing because now you have tried everything else. It has its own merit. And as I'd said earlier, traditional herbal medicine has been with us for many years. And traditional medicine is known to manage quite a number of diseases in human and even also in animal, including the cancers, including most of the non-communicable diseases, and many other diseases which we do have. Now, without going much into details, what is important is to verify scientifically, of course, that the herbal and traditional medicine which are available and being claimed as management therapies for various infections do indeed work. And also, the other important thing is that when you are seeking that herbal medicine, try to get it from an authenticated healer, somebody who understands that medicine and gives it to you with the knowledge that is giving you the right thing. Because the other problem which we usually fall into is seeking this particular product, herbal and traditional medicine, from wrong persons. Not everybody who presents themselves as a traditional healer is a real healer. Or anybody who is walking around with that product is actually somebody who understands it. You see, that is the other problem. And it gives traditional herbal medicine a bad name. And these are the things we need to be very care of so that we don't fall into the wrong hands. But I would like to say here and emphasize that traditional and herbal medicine works. We have been able to scientifically prove this in our laboratories, and the only thing which remains is to avail these products to our people to use. Now, the other small problem which sometimes people ask is that, okay, if you have been able to verify this product, then where are they? Yes. And that is usually a question very difficult to answer, but we always answer it this way, that the problem is the source of the raw material. You know, when you have a product, when you put it out there in the market, you must be able to sustain the market. And that is where the problem starts. We need to do what we call the best term is to do it in a way that you have farmers who are cultivating these medicinal plants
specifically for
as a business, as a cash crop.
Let's pause at that point, because then when you come back, you'll tell us, so these ones that you've scientifically proven to be working, who have you told? And what are they doing with that information? So then we can get it accessible to us. Because basically what Dr. you're telling us is there are traditional medicines that work. What matters most is who you're getting it from.
Correct.
Not every ero who tells you, ego dawa, naosha tumbo. Ero chokwa, naosha tumbo. Doesn't mean that it's the best thing.
Correct.
26 minutes to 8. Dr. Festus Tolo is a biomedical research scientist. He is also the deputy director of KEMRI at the Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research. We are talking about traditional medicine and the breakthrough research on African traditional medicine that's been done. Dr. there is a project in Vipingo called 1255 Palm Ridge Apartments by Vipingo Development that is owned by Centum Real Estate. And they have done some good apartments so far: studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and villas. 500 units have been sold. They are going on to phase 2, and they're selling them for from 2.45 million shillings for studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or 3 bedroom, and even for villas that go for up to 15.5 million shillings. All you need to do is go visit them. You know where Vipingo is. You know where this project is by Centum Real Estate. So they're saying phase 2 is up, and if you'd like to get more information, text the word Vipingo to 22365. That's Vipingo to 22365. Or you can call them 0740 400 215. 0740 200 415. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's that time of year again when our voices get to count. It's time for the Pulse Music Video Awards, the great edition to be held in Nairobi on the 21st of December. And we need to hear you louder than ever before. The names are out, and it's all up to you, the fans, to vote for the top artist of the year, best music video, song genres, music producers, video vixens, and more in the Kenyan music industry. You can visit www.standardmedia.co.ke/PMVA to vote just once, but still show some love for your favorites through text by sending the word PMVA followed by your nominee code to 22845 as many times as possible. Voting closes on 15th December, so you better start voting. Imeletwa kwako na Kenya Kane, the iconic Kenyan spirit. Pulse Music Video Awards, the only way to get alive.
The drizzle continues in Nairobi at 17. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 16. It's mostly sunny at 16 in Nakuru, highs of 24. And we'll see highs of 22 in a cloudy Nyeri at 15. Mostly cloudy conditions at 14 in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 12. And it's raining in parts of Mombasa, going to highs of 31 and lows of 25. We'll see lows of 26 in a partly sunny Malindi at 26, going to highs of 31. And it's raining at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 27. And we'll see highs of 26 in a cloudy Kakamega, beckoning the rain at 20. 19 and light rain in Kampala, highs of 24. And it'll go to highs of 32 in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 26. 16 and rain showers in Johannesburg, highs of 21 and lows of 15. And mostly clear conditions at 25 in Lagos, going to highs of 32. We'll see highs of 29 in a rainy Kinshasa at 21.
Spice up your life.
All right, Likoni Road, some traffic coming off Enterprise and then leaking onto the Southern Bypass. We're looking at that all coming off of Lunga Lunga as well as Jogo Road this morning. So that's heavy. And we're looking at in and outbound traffic on Jogo Road. And then this thing that's happening, it's a snake of traffic going in and outbound on Landis and then spilling over to Haile Selassie, coming round about Kamkunji. That is going to be there for the next few days for sure as things shut down. Gong Road, we're looking at some traffic still continuing in most parts of the city. We're looking at it also heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway. We've seen that this change in the last 15 minutes. Use the service lanes on the Thika Superhighway is what we're being told by folks on Twitter this morning. Use that. to get away from the traffic. We're also seeing Kiambu Road is piling up and a little bit here and there on Likoni Road. Ring Road Western's also following in fine form this morning. Traffic is starting to pile up there as well. Tell us what's going on where you are. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's keep things moving and be careful. The roads are actually slippery.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Conversation with Dr. Festus Tolo from the Kenya Medical Research Institute, the Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research. Ndu,
yes.
Please tell Daktari about the kiwi shoe polish. Then you ask him that question that you asked when we went to the break.
So I do have a question. However, so Kiwi is saying step up and shine, going into schools coming back after this 2 months holiday. So with Kiwi black polish, which you've all used for years, of course. And they're saying, go in, buy a tub of this or a tin of this, and then under the lid, there's a code. The code you send to *459 *5#, and you get instant airtime. I know because I did it, so it's true. Then you enter into a draw for 35,000 shillings of school fees to be won in January. It's fantastic, no? Kiwi's doing this for 36 different people over the next, number of weeks ending on the 7th of February, so that, you step up, you shine, and some people get to go to school courtesy of Kiwi. 35,000 bob for school fees. Great thing, sir.
That's great.
Now I can ask my question. Now that you're going to step up and shine, I can ask my question. Do you advocate for traditional medicine? And then part B of that question is then the research that KEMRI is doing at the moment as concerns traditional medicine. What is it hoping to find?
Thank you. Yes, I would advocate for traditional and herbal medicine. And my reasons are that even if it is not treating your ailment, it could be improving your nutrition status, boosting your immune system, because they do that, so that it is at least giving you something which is beneficial. It's not going to harm you. It's not a chemical you are taking in. And therefore is a better product. Now, the research we are doing at KEMRI, the aim is to, at the end, be able to integrate herbal traditional medicine into the mainstream healthcare system. We want these products to be availed at our hospitals, just like it happens in other countries which have been mentioned here. We've had India, we have had China, so Japan, and that is the ultimate goal. And what we are doing as KEMRI is bringing out evidence, scientific evidence, which is necessary to facilitate this. And the information very necessary is on safety. Safety is key for any product being taken. So if you can say it's safe, it's not going to harm, then that is a very big stage which you have achieved, and therefore you can now say, let's look at the efficacy of the product. And if it is efficacious, then now you have actually almost there, and then you say now, all right, let's see how best we can prepare it, formulate it, so that now we can avail it for our people to use in the hospital. So that is the ultimate goal. And at the center in KEMRI, we have various divisions looking into this. Now, first of all, it is very important to collect the right product. When you are going to collect that raw material, you must be able to collect what is right. And then when you bring it and you're preparing it, you must prepare it in the right way. Most of these natural products are very sensitive to light, for example. So you don't need to dry it in the sun. If you do that, you lose some of the properties, medicinal properties in the plant. Then, after you have processed it, you need to do what we refer to in general terms as fingerprinting. You want to know how you'll be able to identify the same product when you collect it again as a raw material to process. So we have a department or a division which looks at the phytochemistry, the small details of what could be present in this product, so that you are able to use that as a marker of activity or a fingerprint to enable you be able to identify again a similar product when you collect it as a raw material to prepare your medicine. Then we have another division which looks at now the safety of this product. And the safety is looked at in three forms. The first form is where you just want to look at whether this product is going to kill the mammalian cell line. You know, you can be able to grow the cell line in what we refer to as a petri dish. I hope we are familiar with a petri dish. And then you look at what happens when you introduce various concentrations of your product to these cell lines, mammalian cell lines. That is referred to as cytotoxicity. And then from there now you can do animal experimentation. And the animal experimentation looks at what we call acute toxicity. Acute toxicity is what happens within 24 hours when you give this product. You know, we know that if you have a potent poison, you give it to a person or an animal, within 24 hours, this person will have either died, or there are certain things you'll have seen which are very serious affecting this particular person. Then the third bit, you need to do what we call subacute or chronic toxicity. What are the long-term effects of using this product? When is a therapy which you need to use perhaps this medicine for 3 or 4 months, or even sometimes 6 to 1 year? What are the effects on long-term use? So once now you are able to establish this, then now you can now say, okay, I've seen that it is safe. Does it treat what it is indicated for? Like if it is a bacterial infection, can it be able to kill certain bacteria? So we have another division which looks at that so that we are able to identify or confirm that this thing has antibacterial activities. If we are happy, then now we say, let's look at how we can present this product. So we have a department, we look at the formulation of the product. How best can we present it? Is it going to be better as a tablet? Because we can actually, remove the water from an extract and have it in powder form and tablet it. And then we look at the shelf life, and then we say, okay, we can present this as a tablet. So at that point, we are happy with the product. We are at a point where now we want to link in the production side of things now. And we have a production department in Kemri, a small one, which will look at it and say, okay, you have been able to do this. We can see you have this data, which is good. All right, we can be able to scale it up by identifying perhaps a pharmaceutical company locally which can be able to produce it in large scale. And then we have the product in the market. But of course, before that happens, it will have passed through the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, because the Pharmacy and Poisons Board must register this product. And when they do so, they look at various information necessary for them to register, key among them being the safety of that product and how it is prepared, and the dosage, because it's very important, for a child, for a grown-up elderly person. And then how is it presented and for how long somebody needs to take it for the therapeutic benefit.
Sounds, Doctor, like you are taking traditional medicine and pushing it down the route of conventional medicine.
Not at all. We are just transforming it into a way which is pleasing to us, the way we see medicine.
See?
Yes.
That's conventional.
Not really. Conventional, when you talk of conventional, we are talking of a pure entity. Like I did mention the phytochemistry of the plant. Most of these conventional medicines are made from single entities of a chemical. And then you add excipient, you add other things into it so that it is stable, perhaps it's better, it can be better absorbed in the system, and so on and so forth. And that is it. It's a chemical still. But this one is still a natural product. When we are making it into a tablet, we have not isolated the ingredients initially present. We have only just removed the water. That's why we said we can remove the water and we have the powder. And therefore, the benefit of the herbal product is still there, even if it's a tablet.
how can the traditional healers, who are the custodians of this knowledge today, they have knowledge that's been passed down to them over generations, and they know this particular, herbs and trees and roots that contain medicinal value. How can they take advantage of this whole long system? Because it sounds like you are now trying to make them start doing other different things. How can they participate in this journey?
Very nice question. In fact, in Kemri, we have a day, Wednesday mornings, where we meet the traditional healers from 9 to 1 every Wednesday. You don't need to book. You come, you are a traditional healer or just an interested Kenyan who would like to know more about herbal and traditional medicine. We'll meet you, we'll talk to you. So when they come, we talk to them because you see, everything modernizes. You see, you cannot remain, in any system, if you don't improve your product, it's just like a car, for example. You can make a good car, but, if you don't modify the shape, it will reach a point where people will not even buy that good car because of that poor shape. And the same applies to medicine. The same applies, If I want to come to SpiceFM here, and I have some ailment which I need to carry my medicine, how would it look if I arrived here with 3 jerrycans on my side? You see, I'm putting it so that you understand me. It would be better if I arrived with some small envelope in my pocket and have my medicine, and really, I don't need to expose myself that much. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. They must be able also now to move with time so that they are able to have products which are still traditional, herbal, but in a form which is also convenient to the trend of things. And this is what I'm talking about. So when I'm saying formulating, we are only improving on the presentation of the product so that it is acceptable, so that we can use it without much problems.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Even as you look at, the nexus between traditional and conventional, even as you look at the research that is being done today and encouraging people to take on these conventional trends, however, not changing the integrity of the traditional medicine itself, right? For people who still have access, if you live in the city, for example, and you go, to the village and maybe you have an ailment, something goes, okay, perfect example, it's Christmas, you've overindulged. And there are people in the area who are going to be able to offer you something for your ailment. What would your encouragement be? Go ahead, use that? Or are you saying even with your knowledge or understanding or whatever else, go find the closest pharmacy or chemist? In terms of practice.
As I'd said, it would be okay if you are going to get it from the right person who understands it, if it's herbal medicine. Because it's equally good if you're getting it from the right person. And there would be no harm when you're home there and you have some stomachache. In fact, I'll tell you, herbal medicine has some of the best stomach ailment medication you can think of. And they are very therapeutic and they will not harm you. In fact, some of them will actually wash your system. And after that, you'll be able to feel very relaxed and you'll eat more and you will be more healthier than the conventional medicine. So it depends on where you are going to source it. Of course, if there is a nearby pharmacy, perhaps because of doubt of not knowing whether this traditional healer is really, a good one, then perhaps you'd go to the pharmacy. So, because pharmacies, they are regulated and so on. In fact, that brings a point which I wanted to raise here. The traditional healer is the doctor and the pharmacist at the same time. He makes the medicine. And he dispenses the same medicine. And this sometimes creates a problem. You cannot be you cannot be the judge and also the prosecutor at the same time. It brings a lot of conflict. And this has been the problem. And then when it comes to registration of the traditional healer, you find that they are registered by the Ministry of Culture. While these people are actually providing a medical service. Yeah, you see now that is another problem. And because of that, you only need to perhaps be well-groomed and you arrive at the culture. I'm not saying that's what happens, but you can be able to be registered as a herbalist without you knowing anything herbal. It's very possible. And that now exposes the practice to people who might engage in it who are not very vast in it. We have come across scenarios whereby you find a herbal doctor not able to differentiate headache and stomachache, and that is very serious. Yeah, because, if somebody is saying he's treating your headache and actually his stomach is referring to, then you can see the conflict. And then also, when it comes to the medicine itself, some of them are not knowledgeable of the plant, the medicinal plant. Or they walk around, they listen to some wind blowing, and they collect some grass or some trees along the road, and they are preparing it, and they are presenting it as herbal medicine, and they are giving you. They don't know the dose. They don't know how toxic. Some of these plants are very toxic. Like, the euphorbia type, the ones which have some milky stuff. Most of them are not very safe, but you'll find that they take anything, they put it together, and they're giving you as medicine, and what they're after is just your little money, which you're getting through hardships. So this is the problem. So if, we can be able to find a way in which we only allow the right people who understand the medicine to be there, let these people have some knowledge of some medical knowledge a bit, so that they are able to properly even diagnose. Then let them also have a bit of how to prepare the medicine, so that they are able to know that if you are putting it in a container which is not very clean, if you are keeping it in an environment where perhaps temperatures are high for a long period of time, it deteriorates and it becomes something else. So if this information is imparted into them, then they'll be able to deliver a very good product. Some of them are very good and they are actually knowledgeable of all this, but not all of them, unfortunately. And this is what we need to do, so that we are able to also, safeguard our Kenyans, our people who use these products.
Are they registered?
Yeah, that's another question. You see, as I had said, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board needs to register the product, and they are doing it. In fact, they are doing it so well. But unfortunately, most of these products which are available out there are not registered by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. So their dosage is not known, their efficacy is not known, of course their safety is not known. Given that we know anyway that herbal medicine has been with us for many years, but you see, it is many years through safe hands, through people who understand.
Yeah.
If it is in the wrong hands, then the many years we talk about is just it's not important. Yeah, it's just a number. So we need to have products which are safe, which are therapeutic. And the only verifier is the Pharmacy and Poisons Board.
Do they license the traditional medicine people?
Now, they only look at the product, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. As I had said, the licensing of the healer, the traditional healer, is done by the Ministry of Culture, not even the Ministry of Health. Yeah.
Is there an association that these healers belong to?
There are many associations
it isn't
they
one.
belong to. It's not one, but
not
there is one main one which is now emerging. There is a nice lady, a traditional healer, who is actually chair of this association. They have various branches in various, I would say, counties of our country. And I think through this association, perhaps it will be possible to have a central point where discussions can be done, can be held with them, so that certain things, can be imparted into them, so that they are able to provide good service and good product. Yes.
We're talking about mainstreaming this work that they do. Most traditional healers belong to, should I say, families, in the sense that it was a tradition that was passed down.
Yes.
So because it was passed down, there was knowledge that was passed down.
Correct.
Now, what does one need to do in order to get them under one umbrella? The way the doctors and dentists and pharmacists have gotten themselves into one nice little club.
Very difficult. That's a nice question. I think the important thing here is that the herbalists themselves need to understand what they are doing, so that they are able now to come together and talk with each other and synergize what they are doing. because no one else can do that for them, We have mentioned the pharmacists and we have mentioned the conventional doctors. These are persons who understand each other and they know what they do. They know how important it is for them to be together so that they can be able to provide service together. The herbalists also need to do this. They need to understand each other. The interesting bit of the herbalist is that they are very, private. They are very secretive. Maybe that's the right word to use. Opening up and sharing that knowledge is not as easy, even to themselves, because they believe that whatever my knowledge I know, if anybody else would get it, they would misuse it or use it.
Than myself.
Correct.
And I lose my competitive advantage.
That is the other problem they have. And yes.
Oh, sorry to cut you short, but 1 hour is a short time. We want to have you again soon.
Thank you.
So that you can come and we talk about this. Dr. Festus Tolo is the Deputy Director at the Center for Traditional Medicine and Drug Research at Kemri. We've been talking about the breakthrough research on African traditional medicine. Come again soon, Dr.
Thank you so much.
It's 8 a.m. Time for the news. Good morning.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto signed the county government's Additional Allocation Bill 2022 into law. The bill, which is now law, aimed at providing additional allocation of revenue to the devolved units for the financial year 2022-2023. The bill was sponsored by Mandera Senator Ali Ibrahim Roba in the Senate. The previous regime had allocated 370 billion shillings to the devolved units in the next financial year, a figure which the former National Treasury and Economic Planning Cabinet Secretary Korea Tani said represented 27.3% increase from previous financial years. County governments were also to receive 37.1 billion shillings as conditional allocation, with total allocation before the signing of the bill standing at 407 billion shillings. And Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has directed 3 House committees to conduct public participation hearing on President William Ruto's legislative proposals, which seek to set the official opposition gender formula top proposals. In his communication to MPs, Wetangula stated that the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, which is chaired by Tharaka MP Gitonga Murugara, is to consider the President's proposal for the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule and the establishment of the position of the leader of official opposition and parliamentary oversight of the executive. In his letter to the speakers, President proposed the implementation of the elusive gender rule through a top-up of 40 more women in the National Assembly and the Senate, as is the case in the county assemblies. Past attempts to enact the gender law have hit a brick wall in the National Assembly and Senate. The Kenyans who borrowed from the hustler funders so far paid 1 billion shillings. Cooperatives and MSME CS Simon Chilugui says Kenyans have also repaid 1.1 billion shillings from some 7.5 billion shillings disbursed. The CS says over 15 million Kenyans have been registered, 377 million shillings saved, and 1.1 million Kenyans have borrowed more than once. And Sofapaka are the 2022 Jamhuri Day Cup champions after edging AFC Leopards 4-3 in post-match penalties at the Nyayo National Stadium. Washington Munene gave Leopards the opening goal in the 14th minute from the spot after teammate Jeffrey Awiti was fouled in the box, but the 2009 Kenya Premier League champions equalized 6 minutes to full time through Rodi Manga. Brian Munyama and Ojo Olainyi missed their penalties for Leopards as Sofapaka converted 4 with only Alex Imbusia's kick saved by keeper Levi Supio. Leopards coach Patrick Osems conceded the side, saying that the better side had won. And former Brazil star Ronaldo says he cannot get behind his country's great sporting rivals, Argentina, at the World Cup, and backs France as big favourites to retain their title. Lionel Messi likely has one final chance to lift the only major trophy missing from his collection, but Ronaldo will not be rooting for the South Americans in today's semi-final against Croatia. Ronaldo who scored both goals in the 2002 World Cup final against Germany, expects France to see off surprise semi-finals Morocco tomorrow. The Kenya Ports Authority has Global Energy Basketball Club of Benin 83-45 to register the first win of the 2022 FIBA Africa Women's Club Championships in the Group A match played in Maputo, Mozambique. Medina Okoth, Ifwanya Okoro, Captain Natalie Mangale and Belinda Okoth dropped a combined 58 points as the Dockers cruised to easy victory. On the other hand, Ramuziat Abaizo and Kadiatu Kulibali were shining light for the Benin side as they dropped a combined 25 points. The Dockers started the game on a high note, winning 21-9 in the first quarter before squeezing them again 18-9 in the second quarter to establish a 39-18 lead in the break. After the break, KPA continued from where they had stopped as they won third quarter 24-8 before finalizing with another win of 2019 in the last quarter to take the game to 83-45 at the final buzzer. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseta, good morning.
Today's Newswire is powered by Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Listen to crisp and clear sounds while on the go.
102.5 Spice FM.
All right, looking at the
Kisumu.
building up on the North Airport Road going out towards Outer Ring, that still continues this morning. And we're looking at traffic on Likoni Road. That's a spillover from Lunga Lunga and Likoni, and Jogo Road as well. Heavy going out towards Landys Road. In and outbound traffic still continues to be quite something to contend with this morning. We're looking at the CBD, which is jam-packed. Take a look at Langata Road because that's piling up as you get into the city. It's going to connect with Aerodrome Road out towards Bunyala and then on to Huru Highway through to the Haile Selassie Junction. Heavy traffic. Let's also look at oncoming traffic from Gong Road, which is heavy as well. It's touching up with traffic that's coming off of Raila Odinga Way. And then out towards Hurlingham, out into Lavington, through into Gitanga and Kileshwa. So this morning has started with a bang. We're looking at traffic also on the Thika Superhighway, and it's heavy coming in through from Kiambu County. And so that continues this morning. Kiambu Road also doing the thing. And we're looking at Limuru Road, heavy with traffic as well. A few minutes after 8 o'clock, and it's going to continue for some time. Let's know what's going on where you are. Let's talk on Spice FM. KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning and welcome to the third hour of The Situation Room this morning, 13th day of December 2022. We're still live on KTN News, live on Spice FM, live online on Facebook and on YouTube. City, when the doctor spoke about the need for packaging this medicine for presentation purposes, I said, you didn't want me to come here with 3 jerrycans. I just imagined if he had walked in here with a jerrycan, one pink, another one is completely brown, another. Najua niko na H pylori.
Just excuse me.
Dawa. Inatuliza tumbo. Hii inasaidia nywele. Hii
something to be buoyed of liquids here. Well, we are going to have another conversation, and this is about, it's that festive season. It's the second day of Christmas, Ndu.
Yes, it is.
So today we are being given turtle birds and what?
Turtle doves.
It's turtle doves. Okay, those ones? 2 of them.
I got the information for you that you're looking for. It's not because it necessarily look like turtles, but the sound that they make is similar to that of a turtle. That's why they're called turtle doves.
Turtles make sounds.
Yes, turtles make sounds.
Okay.
Good heavens.
Okay.
Oh, you thought it was only whales that make sounds?
Hey.
What's the sound that a whale makes? What is it called?
I'm not
It's
sure.
not a whistle. Is it a moan? Because it sounds like one. Sometimes it sounds like the screeching of the brakes of a vehicle.
I will find out. And
If whales have cows, then they move.
Touche.
Point taken.
Okay. Willie Kimani is the Chief Commercial Officer at Naivas. He's our guest. Before we welcome him, let him hear the day's proverb. City.
Indeed. Willie, you will hear the proverb, but you just won't hear it. You will hear it when it is read from a certain gadget, a certain companion, a certain tablet known as a Samsung Tab S8 Ultra. Okay? Affords the sort of clarity that you'd think is magical and yet is actually real. Okay? A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything. This is a proverb from Equatorial Guinea. The president is unique, longest serving head of state in the world.
Yes.
Got into power in 1979.
It's never left.
He has been there, meaning giving new meaning.
Now he's the longest serving head of state for the last couple of weeks.
Yes, because somebody died before him. And the one who had been longest died. And his son, who shares his name, also happens to be his vice president. See? Now, those of us who like talking about dynasties, that's dynasty for you.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Willie Kimani, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good to have you again on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Delighted to actually be here again. Yeah, always a pleasure.
To use the words of Ricky G, you're lost.
And that completely lost the American ambassador.
The American ambassador
lost,
said, what do you mean? Why the violence?
She must have actually said, wait a minute, am I in the wrong room?
She actually asked.
Am I in the wrong room?
Yes. She actually asked. Yes. Now that was our vice president thinking in Kiswahili and speaking in English.
Thinking Kenyanese.
Yes.
Kenyanese. You're lost. Bwana. Karibu.
Asante sana.
Well, some big work that you've been doing. First of all, let me ask you, is the deputy president's, the president's daughter your influencer? Or she's just a good client, good customer?
In most cases, you'll always find, we are near almost everyone, so you'll always find someone coming into our store. And I wouldn't say isn't our influencer, but
by default.
Well, she's not working at your behest.
No, not at all.
She just happens to go to the nearest supermarket everywhere she goes to, and the nearest supermarket happens to be a Naivas. Speaks volumes about you and the work that you've done.
Asante.
How many branches do you have countrywide now?
So we have 90 stores today, and will be 91 by Thursday. This is a big feat, and especially for someone like myself. I joined Naivas when you only had 9 stores, so this is 10x. So now it's 90 stores and growing. We'll be opening one more in Nakuru. We just did a very good, fantastic food market at Ojijo Road, just next to Parkland Sports Club, and we took over one of the most iconic, we call them the former nice Uchumi stores done by the former CEO Suresh Shah, one of the longest serving CEOs, and most of the stores that he actually had done were very particular, small, compact kind of stores, and we took that particular store and we're quite happy about that one also on Saturday, and the response has been amazing.
90 stores.
90 stores, yes.
Countrywide.
Yeah. That's the most any Kenyan retailer has ever been. At the height, yes. And no store outside the country.
All of them local?
All of them local, because we believe there is no need of rushing out of out of Kenya to go set up in Gulu, that's the top right-hand corner of Uganda, before you even have a store in Nyahururu, or before you have a store in Kangware, or you're busy in the streets of Tanzania, and yet you don't even have a store in Busia.
It's a lot of stores, really.
Yes.
Even in Kenya. Now, are these the opening of these stores in response to a community's needs directly?
Absolutely, and I have to say the market is really small. It's still quite small. We are talking about only having 90 stores. That equates us to within the modern trade sphere. We talk of a split of a 70-30, and this 70-30 split is not even 70, and the 70 being general trade and 30% modern trade, and that is according to Sagachi, the research institute. But according to others, we believe it's less than that. It should be around 18 to 19%. Within that universe, I'm 40% market share. So we are still quite far off. As in, we can triple the number so that we have and still not be where we need to be. And if you look at the South African, for example, stores and all that, and the way they're on 60% modern trade, there's way much more space for us to grow. Yeah.
How far wide are the 90 stores spread in terms of counties and towns and cities?
We are in all counties apart. Most of them, we are in majority of the counties. And I have to say, the only county where we had to shut down was Northeastern, where we had a store in Garissa. But we are in Meru. We are in Mombasa. In fact, Mombasa, we have in total 9 stores in the whole coastal region. In Machakos, we're in Kisumu, we're in Eldoret, we're in Narok. The funny part about Naivas is that we did not start off with our main stores in Nairobi. It was more of the satellite stores, get the stores from out. You do our Narok store, do our Kitui store. Our best store for the longest was the Machakos store. Even when in Nairobi, it was Komarok, and then eventually now came into the CBD and actually started owning that with Westland Store and the likes. So that for us, the strength of outside Nairobi, and then again now coming into mid Nairobi has been one key component of our success.
Nowadays, when you see Naivas, I see Naivas food market.
Yes.
Does that mean you've stopped being Naivas supermarket?
Okay. The food market is a concept where we give more preferential space to the fresh items that we produce, our direct own products. That is our bakery, our butchery, our fruit and veg, the juice bar, and the like. So that space, we give it at least 25% of the space when in our food market. So meaning the way we execute that particular store, it's quite extensive. It gives that whole market feel. You know, we want to do as many small things. Yes, marigiti. We'll dice for you your mboga. We'll choma your nyama. You know, that's how extensive we actually go. You'll get more cuts there. You'll get, and we'll be even introducing more. For example, more brands of tomatoes, not just one tomatoes in there. You'll find slightly higher than norm fresh. So, and still we have the general merchandise, the whole food stuff and everything else. So it's more focused on fresh. And that's actually, we are the kings of fresh. One by quality and of course by price. And that is a key component of our success so far. And it's good to also see that even our competitors have actually also started picking up that whole it's never good till it's COVID. Yeah. Yeah. So they're picking up on it and starting to give that agenda for the food market.
What drove you to that direction?
It's we travel a lot. We went all the way to the European side. We went to the South African side, and we needed to come up with something that actually it encompasses the true aspirational Kenyan. And it came out quite clearly that fresh is something, and especially quality and that what you want to feed your child, you want to be 100% sure that it's actually way much more in sync than anything else. So with that came the need for us to do a food market concept. And we did not just ape 100% European model or 100% South African model. No, this was actually a well thought out concept. other markets, for example, if you go to the US, you'll actually find some of them will start you off with the clothing or the crockery and all that. But we were quite intentional. We're going to start off with the food market. Something else with the food market, the first moment when you're going into a store and you're actually finding the fruit and veg and everything, there's an activity of your hand picking up and down. That activity also starts showing that whole trust element, and it shows that even if there are 5-10 people, you'll actually notice and actually think that there's a bigger crowd within the whole sphere. These are a lot of science with having fresh an activity of hands up and down, rather than actually just flattish out shelves and all that.
Right. So you find that, I mean, I guess, and this, it's probably buyer behavior, but you find that as you see Naivas spreading in the way in which it is, that people then get attached to the brand and say, well, I'm just going to go pick it up at Naivas, whatever. Then also comes the hope that nothing will happen that will dash those hopes, even as you see this widespreading 90 stores, hoping to be more in the future. How then do you assure? What can you say to assure those who are walking into the stores on a regular, every day, that nothing is going to happen? Unfortunately, with some of the trends that we've seen in the last few years, it's a real fear.
Yep. Yeah. So we've actually been in an environment of learning, and I love today's quote. Because as wise men,
proverb.
Yeah, the proverb, yes. The proverb, as wise men, and taking a big note from our chairman, David Kimani. The key word here is learning every day. The key word here is we do not know what we do not know. You have to always be on the lookout. We have seen people collapse. There are reasons why they did collapse. All the way ranging from lack of know-how, all the way to rushing into other markets, all the way into poor corporate governance, all the way into category managements that were hard to actually do. Some of those taglines, for example, I'll say here with confidence that you need it, you've got it, is a very expensive tagline to maintain, because you'll actually end up having an item that Eric can only get, and he's 100% sure, but he's buying it in dozen. You have to now pay it with milk for these other 8 items till I get to sell up to the dozen, and then your cash flow start coming out in problems and all that. It's getting all that into sync, understanding it, and also the family also decided to onboard some investors into it. And our investors to actually help us to also up our game on reporting, corporate governance, and everything. And that has actually made Naivas a way much better, more informed. And we are a data-driven company. No decision without data.
What do you mean? Explain.
We are not going to open a store without figures quite clearly showing that that store is actually going to break even. We are not going to keep a store open if that store is not making sense. We'll shut it down. If data tells us shut it down, we actually shut it down. If data shows us that customers are actually not happy with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we actually make that. We actually have one of the biggest. Our customer insights department is made up of more than 9 people. Just making sure that we're actually able to get as much insight before we even make any key decisions as an organization. That is possibly what I have to tell anybody right now, that fix your corporate governance. So it's not a must you be as big as a supermarket. Corporate governance and people, because enabling and actually having your people actually all out strong out there is very important.
So you're not saying that you're not promising people that, look, we're not going to fall apart tomorrow, but you're saying that we're doing everything that we can today to make sure that you, the person who's going to walk into the store and create the foot traffic, is taken care of.
Absolutely. It's all about the customer. In retail, once you get the customer right, you're good to go. At the end of the day, we exist to just make sure that the product is actually able to flow from the manufacturers and the suppliers perfectly in sync, and we make a coin out of it that can be able to sustain us. So it's all about how you're able to merchandise that product, make sure that product is actually the right quality and everything. When you are customer-centric, you're good to go.
So, and then how you, look, in a time where things are terrible, there's pressure on the president to bring down the cost of living, we're going to Christmas, everybody wants to do shopping, etc. It's very expensive right now, isn't it? There was a time we were Look, we're walking into every supermarket, walking into Naivas, and we were buying oil at 2,400 shillings, 22,000 shillings. Now we're getting it 999, isn't it? How are you able to at least knock a few shillings off stuff that we need?
Yeah.
How are you able to do that?
Let me tell you, it's a fight. It's a big fight a big fight out there. We call ourselves, we consider ourselves like the gatekeepers for our customers, and the first level of defense the public has is ourselves. In that, when a manufacturer or a retailer or supplier comes in with high prices, we ask why. Why are you increasing your price? Why should I even dare increase the price? Give me the reason as to why. And that's why there's nobody else who has that particular answer, that particular, at least, agenda. Otherwise, because it's an issue of, if you do not, then your volumes actually go low. And what you're seeing is, unfortunately for some, and which some of them are market trends, global trends, for example, whatever is happening in Ukraine, issue and COVID challenges when it came to, for example, electronics are at probably the highest price right now. And the Kenyan customer, because you have to study the Kenyan customer, what they have actually been doing is reducing on the size of the brand, because they're still earning the same amount of money. So my basket is still the same, but then you now start seeing lower sizes, and at times you also get to see less volumes in the basket. Now, it's an issue here comes in that you have to give them a reason why to come to you. You have to always go back to the manufacturer and actually work out a price that jointly you shall be able to ensure that we are able to keep both our market share and also the customer is actually happy. And it cannot just be the promo one. It has to be your everyday price. And that's where we come in with a very strong proposition of price that says we are here for you. That we actually, not only this, we're actually going to make sure that your basket is always cheaper at Naivas. That promise for us is very, very key, of making sure that your basket is able to feel it cheaper at our stores.
So what is it that you do? Because, like you've said, the challenges are everywhere. The farmer is producing at a higher price. Your other suppliers of other processed goods are actually getting these processed goods at a higher price. And then they're coming to you to sell at a higher price. What's this negotiation that you're having to cut back on? Whose margin are you cutting back? You're not telling me that Naivas is saying, all right, so I know my margin has been 12%, I'm going to come down to 12%. Is it your suppliers that you're squeezing?
The unfortunate bit is that indeed it's true. We also had to take some margin hits. That you can't avoid. But at the same time, the issue is to move, to ensure that suppliers or manufacturers also have a way whereby they're not moving from a 20 to a 40. Why is it not 28? Why are we moving to 40? That discussion needs to be held somewhere. And that's where now, quite critically, when we're actually dealing with our suppliers, we have to be like, give us a reason. Let's show us the workings that you clearly have actually arrived at A, B, C, D. Okay, the market price is this. There's no availability of let's say, onions in the market. We actually go direct with our insights team, find out in all the markets, what's a farm gate price? Okay, what's a rough cost here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then why are you upping your price up to this? No. I will stop buying from you. I'll actually go back to the market and actually get someone else. Because if you fail to do that, you're not protecting your customer, and your customer disappears. And remember, guys have been paying for school fees every 2 weeks.
For the last 2 years.
For the last 2 years, every 2 weeks. There's always a back to school. There's the prices are all skyrocketing at any one given point. So there's that whole need of making sure that you have to protect the customer, whichever way you look at it.
How do you incentivize your suppliers? For very many of the other collapsed retailers, you've always had issues with the suppliers. Suppliers saying, right, we supply, we have to wait 90 days, 120 days before getting paid. We get to the 120 and then we are still not getting paid. So what's the kind of relationship that you have with your suppliers?
Probably one of the best, and we are happy that we have actually been able to keep that tab and that word with ourselves for the longest possible. The best way of actually having the best customer service, relating with our suppliers, is making sure that we keep to our contracts. The contract and the promise that you actually sign up to. So even if you agree on these 55 days, then you are keeping it the 55 days. If you agree it's 30 days, it's 30 days. If it's 15 days, it's 15 days. For example, all our fresh suppliers, we pay them on 15 days. all. So it's about agreeing on the particular date. Once you negotiate and you're all in agreement, then it helps them to plan. When your supplier is able to plan, they'll be able to service you better. Yeah, even as they are. And also, we have a plan for early payment. Where most suppliers, if they have a problem and they probably feel like they want something slightly upfront, then they are able to actually get some early payment from ourselves. Well, they just quickly apply and we're able to actually do that, to give them that particular support, because we do understand that at times in other markets, they're not only supplying us, there might be some delays elsewhere, and there's not that need to bridge, and we do not want to actually mess them up. That customer, that supplier focus is very, very important for us. We have proper joint business planning. In fact, this is a season for signing that up again with them as we go into the new year, and making sure that we keep that promise and having clear agenda of how much are we going to grow, what are going to be those growth enablers that are going to help us to be able to grow, and then the customer focus part of it. How are we going to go into market and actually win with the market, and then agreeing on payment and also other terms like returns and everything else. Yes.
Let's take a break at 29 minutes after 8. This is the Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation, live on Spice FM, on KTN News, on YouTube, on Facebook. Our guest is Willie Kimani, the Chief Commercial Officer at Naivas Limited. Naivas, basically the market leaders when it comes to retail. And we're talking about this to understand what is it that they do and what others ought to copy and do, and how then you can also lead in the industry. Let me tell you something about what's happening in Kilifi, Willie. I know you know about Centum Real Estate.
Yes.
I know you know about Vipingo Development.
Yes.
I know you know about Vipingo. So on your way to from Kilifi, on your way to Kilifi from Mombasa, you get to Vipingo. And on the left on that road, there is the Vipingo Development.
Yeah.
They've been doing some apartments there and some villas. The apartments are called Palm Ridge Apartments. So the 1255 Palm Ridge Apartments Phase 2 is up and running now. They are actually now taking in bookings for it for only 245,000 shillings as a deposit. Then you begin your journey towards home ownership. So it's studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. The first phase, done, dusted, handed over to their owners. Very well done. And even the Awali, which is the villas as well, very, very well done, and good stuff that's been done there. I know that very well because I've been there. I've looked at them.
Yeah.
I was telling City, actually this year I've been to Kilifi a number of times. Huh?
Yes, you have, haven't you?
Hey. Quite a number of times. So I've been to this development, and I will say, yes, it's a good one. And I've got also to declare conflict of interest because I sit on the board of Superior Homes, which is doing another development just next to, on the border with this one. It's called Pazuri at Vipingo. But credit where it's due. Even this one by Centum, very good development, good one to go to. They have water that they have taken from the ocean, then they have desalinated, they're supplying, so you'll not have an issue with water. The road is right by the highway. The airstrip is right there. And daily flights to Nairobi.
And there's a commercial development too for you.
There's commercial development that's coming up. So if you purchase these units as an investment, then you're also sure that you will make some returns going into the future. Good stuff, right?
Good stuff.
29 minutes to 9. We'll be back shortly with Willie. Good morning.
Join the flip side with the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. It's packed with amazing features that will have you doing backflips, like FlexCam, which allows you to do hands-free video calling, group shots, selfies, and much more. It's beautifully designed to fit your lifestyle and fit neatly in your pocket when folded. But it's not just beautiful. It performs powerfully and it's flipping strong from the inside out. You've got every reason to join the flip side with the Galaxy Z Flip 4. Available in selected Samsung stores countrywide.
All right, the sun's coming up in Nairobi. It's 18. We'll see highs of 24 and lows of 16. It's sunny at 17 in Nakuru, highs of 24 and highs of 22, and lows of 12 in Nyeri, where it's raining. Mostly cloudy conditions at 16 in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 12, and it's light rain in parts of Mombasa at 27. We'll see highs of 32 in Malindi, where it's sunny at 29. Light rain at 21 in Kisumu, highs of 27, and it'll go to highs of 26 in Kakamega, where it's partly cloudy at 21. 19 and mostly sunny in Kampala, highs of 24, and highs of 32 in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 27. 16 and rainy in Johannesburg, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 32 in a mostly clear Lagos at 25. 22 and raining in Kinshasa, highs of 29 and lows of 22.
Spice up your life.
All right, so we're still looking at heavy traffic coming off Jogo Road going out towards Landis. It's going to be that way for some time. We can say that not enough times, I think. It's spilling over towards Haile Selassie. There's also oncoming traffic from Gong Road that's heading out towards Haile Selassie. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Uhuru Highway through and through to the city centre out towards Westlands. Let's look at what's going on with Juja Road, getting into the city, connecting then with Muranga Road. Some traffic coming off of Thika Superhighway as well as Kiambu Road that has packed up significantly in the last half hour. James Gishoro not looking too bad today, crossing over to Wayaki Way, as well as Ring Road Westlands. You can contend with that. Not going to get much crazier than this. All right. Gong Road also on that other end of things, touching with Naivasha Road. Still continues to keep an eye on things. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Biggest conversation, the Situation Room. City Muga, Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, and Willie Kimani, Chief Commercial Officer at Naivas. We're talking about what Naivas has been doing over the years and what Naivas is doing as we head towards Christmas and then schools reopening again. Schools they just stay open.
Closing and opening before you say Jack Robinson, it's open again.
Close, open, money. Close, open, money. Close,
even closing is money.
Closing, money. Ay, Shida. Well, if it's something that you said, and you've actually mentioned this before in the previous conversation that we had here, which is you are speaking against, you need it, we've got it. And saying your strategy is actually different in terms of each store and what each store is then addressing and the kind of stuff that you've stocked in each store. What drives that? Explain.
Yep. At the end of the day, you'll always find that the whole Pareto rule applies a lot in when it comes to category management. You'll actually find in most cases 20% contributing to 80% in most categories. If you go to milk, there are key clear brands that actually win there. But that doesn't mean you can't have some of the sweeteners and sweetened brands and all that. Even in the mainstream sodas or something, there are those main brands and all that. So the question is, do you keep end to end, and especially what amount of tail do you keep? Okay. And how critical is that tail? And can you be able to get it in volumes and quantity that do not now force you to actually pay for them before they actually sold out, which now leads you to having cash flow issues and everything and all that. So it's a way where you have to have a proper balance between making sure that the customers get exactly what they want, but there's that need, for example, to say, hey, do I really have to have the fanciest sofa set or something? Or will people go to the supermarket to buy the best suit? Or will they buy the everyday shirt? And at what point do you say, okay, thank you very much, this is up to where I am? And the price point also, depending with where the store is. So that you also don't end up having... I'm going to use this one, putting up octopus in an Island store. Yeah. And
it will not move as fast as if you had put it
exactly
in another store at Lavington Cove.
No, people will take photos for the gram and that's it. So it's having that particular balance and just knowing where, what, and all other things, and then giving the relevant things. Because anyway, what are you even telling guys who definitely want their everyday need sorted, perfect, all those other things out, all out there, and giving them the best. And that's why we do a store like Greenspan. A Greenspan has all the aspirational bit, but still we moderate up to what level, because it's a good food market, a perfect food market. But there's definitely some moderation of some key items. That if it's cheese, for example, how many cheese brands will you go in Greenspan? And how do we now work with suppliers to drive growth in that category in a place like Greenspan and actually grow it all out? But yet when you cross over to let's say waterfront, you already have people who are coming from other markets. They're already in there. They are expatriates. They're all that. They want that other. So
they want a wider variety.
Yeah,
of
and
cheese.
that's why So your store catalog will definitely be different from one location to the other location, and now you need to actually get that, so that you don't have 100% of what you have here having it, because definitely in Greenspan you will not miss someone who knows that particular cheese and who wants it. Do you sort it out? And at that particular point you say, okay, this is okay. I'm actually going to say up to this level I won't do, but and it helps you out, so that because category management is always evolving. In fact, I have to say, for a team, we are quite still on the ropes. We're trying to make sure that we also catch up and be the best. And I'll say this is one of the reasons why people come from other markets and don't do well here, because they do not understand the market and the customers. That's one of the key things that we actually do properly.
Willie, how big is your research and development department?
The first and foremost, any commercial manager has to have that part as Eldoret, and we have more than 40 of the commercial managers, and then we have a team of 9 in our insights team.
Okay, how do you present, and then how do you manage your customer feedback?
We have we consolidate it. We have a CMS system which actually helps us. We actually get all that feedback through our customer service department. Some of course online, some at the store level, and then we're able to get that and escalate them within departments all the way up to the exco level.
When you say at the store level,
yes,
some online, what do you ask the customers to talk to you about?
So we'll always send prompts, especially when you need more detail on our categories. Or we want to have some mystery shopping around some store or any question. So we'll always prompt depending on the days and all that. But and ultimately also having a third party coming in and just giving us a proper score from a market view. This is exactly how they actually. And once we get the particular questions, our points of interest, then we ask a larger crowd what exactly, because it can range from everything, from our fresh, from our customer service, to our reward card, to our electronics. It's quite vast.
Good thing you mentioned reward card, because I was coming to that. This bonga point system, I mean, that's what I think of.
So you see it.
Yeah, it is a bonga point system. Since you have focused your discussion on how innovative Naivas is, what are the innovations with your reward card that differs from other reward cards that people have?
Yeah. So, without divulging too much.
Usitoe siri yote. Toa tu ile siri ambayo watu wanajua tayari.
First and foremost, we have the best value in town, and our value has always been, and it will be actually good for people to even do their actual calculations on the value of points so you actually get in Naivas. One on price, and then second actual price. So actual value per shilling spent is actually better when you're redeeming at Naivas. We are always open. Our redemption is always open, and we are coming up with a very innovative card. We had actually stopped it because we had partnered with Chase Bank then. Unfortunately, with the collapse of Chase Bank, we unwound our Visa proposal. So we are working our Visa card with a partner bank. I would like to keep it confidential.
Please keep it confidential.
Till they themselves are, but at least with Visa it's quite open. So we are doing a proper Visa card, and we'll be able to also now have more encompassing that you're able to also shop not only within Naivas, but you can be able to go to other retailers and outlets or eateries and everything, and also use it for your e-commerce when you're buying things online and everything. That's exactly what we're trying to do with the card.
That's comprehensive.
Our card is so popular such that our largest proportion of customers, actually more than 80%, is actually our reward card customers.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What?
It's one of the best success stories I can actually say, with 3 million plus.
How many?
3 million.
There are many.
Yes. And
Very
not
many.
only many, serious.
Serious many.
They repeat customers.
yes. Their basket value is higher. And that's why even our Christmas campaign, we build around them. Yeah, it's only for our reward card customers, and we'll try as much as possible to give them more value with the card.
Which brings us to the next question then. Is then what do people have to look forward to the next 10 days? Christmas is coming. Shopping is going to be done before that. What going into this period and into the new year do people have to look forward to?
Yeah, well, again, it's that time I have to remind people that back to school is also going to be in January. Luckily, it's going to be late January, so at least the January salary can come through for that.
Amen.
For the first time, it's been taken. And it's at least finally normalized. We'll continue with very many offers and all, but it's that way that always to tell guys, there are so many ways of having that fun. Please shop and please make sure, check out for the orange stickers, for example, when you go to the stores. Those are the offer prices and all. Look at the brand, look at always shop that particular value. Please take time also nowadays and start reading the packs themselves, the product packs, as in just read the packs. What exactly, between when you're comparing two products, what exactly is this, what exactly is this? At times I'll ask people even the difference between basmati and biryani, and
there's a difference.
Customer here for you, really.
Yeah, there's so much. What is long grain? What is, as in, there's all these bits and all that. Let's take our time, understand that particular value, get that particular sweet spot, and now shop where definitely you're also getting value. And I was just thinking, because when I looked at the Today's Post, and I was like, okay, so what exactly can entail even Naivas? Something that, because how many people, for example, even visit our national park here? It's right across your office here.
Some people here want it to be closed and converted into affordable housing.
Never ever.
Why are you all looking at me?
Why are you feeling somehow?
Why are you feeling attacked?
For 900 bob.
Because I'm among the people who proposed that, yes.
For 900 bob, or even 1,300, you can actually be able to take your family, go into Capital Center, buy some snacks and all sorts of things. You go in and the kids will be so happy and all that. And with a budget of less than 3K, you have done something
for your family.
For your family
feel the value.
And everything.
Actually, we can even segue into Sakaja is doing a Nairobi festival
yes.
at Uhuru Park, the newly reopened Uhuru Park. You can take your children there.
Absolutely. Oh, the museum. By the way, we have forgotten about the museum and all that. The other day I was out there checking out on the snake park, just to be a hobby when I was in campus seeing them being fed. As in, they're still there, and the guys are there. Even the National Treasury building, sorry, not Treasury, the one opposite Nyayo House there. They even have a bouncing castle there for kids and stuff. As in, there's some things that government is actually also doing. There's some bits and pieces. If you're in Meru, for example, or Nakuru, just going up the crater there and all that. There's some very, very, and just infuse that activities. with some. Go to a deli, buy some nice packed food, and get some nice drinks out there. We are running for the over 18 some nice liquor offers that you can also be able to buy and just enjoy yourself and just keep that merry. There are ways of saving that you definitely need to, as you also prep for the new year that is actually coming. We hope that prices will be going low. All the indications are at least things will start easing up. I'm looking at you. But globally, we seem to be seeing somehow some ray of hope out there. And so with that bit, hoping that at least by at least in the next 9 months, we'll also at least be settled. At least, so we need to do what is called kukaza mshipi. Yeah.
This is the time.
This is the time.
But then you're also giving out mbuzi.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, as a tradition, we have always done that. As
Naivas and Mbuzi and Christmas, same was that.
Yeah.
These Mbuzis can read and write.
But it's been a tradition. We believe that there's no snow for the Christmas around that, but what people will do is everybody sits down and has a mbuzi.
Yeah.
We always have to change and most of the families, and that coming together, and we are built around a family unit. So that bit of a ginger, dice and do the mbuzi, we will always work when from our side to the corporate side, as in the association with the goat, the Kenyan goat, it's actual Christmas bit. And so we'll always give out goats. This time it's more than 1,000 goats that we're giving, because we have some online, we have others in the stores. All stores have particular number of goats. And also giving vouchers. Every day, every store has gift vouchers that we've actually been giving. Total, more than 60 million worth of vouchers. Yeah.
So how does one get a goat?
Just need to shop.
One get a voucher?
Just
goat voucher. How does one
just
get
need to shop with Naivas using your reward card. As simple as that. Yes.
As long as you are registered for a reward card and you shop using it,
yes,
you stand a chance of winning.
Yes.
The voucher or the goat.
Yes.
And you can if you're not you can register there.
And it's instant. It's all digital. So it's actually all whichever till will actually will come in. It's actually all digitized in there. And at the same time, also if you pay with your Visa card, you also get to get some cashback, immediate cashback.
There's something that you said about the profile of your card holder.
Yes.
And tell us about then this. What is it about this card holder? What's their profile? You've talked about their basket size. You talked about their shopping frequency and all.
Well, the shopper is quite different, because as in if also talk about the individual shoppers, all the way from Kitui to Nyeri.
You tell us about 3 million people.
3 million people. Yes. But in a nutshell, the reward card shopper shops 3 times more than the walk-in customer, basket value-wise. And actually comes in 4 times minimum a month from our trends. That had reduced during COVID to around 3 times with an increased basket. And also, they're very centric to brands and quite clear on brands. So the brand affiliation, for example, when we were looking at how prices are actually increasing, most of them just still kept to the same brands, but maybe lowered the size of product that they were actually taking and all that. They also look for value. You can always tell the trends when there's value, and especially when it comes to Nairobi stores, you can always tell sometimes the preferential for particular brands is not as strong as possibly upcountry and stuff. So that whole profiling, we have it in different ways.
So these are the insights that then you use to determine what you're doing in your market.
Yes.
You share this as well with your suppliers.
Yes.
So that you know this is the trend, and if you do here, we are both winning.
Yes.
If you do here, we are both losing. Do you also use this card to get feedback, direct feedback from the customer?
Yes, absolutely.
How?
We do a lot of online questionnaires back to our customers. We also have a platform called Naivas Kikao, where we've actually in Kikao we took the word Kikao from the sitting where we have reward card members who have signed up to intentionally to give us now the information anytime we actually need. We go to the Kikao, and we have more than around 5,000 Kikao members. So anytime you want a particular segment, or for example, you want something for the young youth and all that, we just look for that particular subset, a focus group. In particular, customers who have already signed up for Kikao, who are already Naivas shoppers. Yeah.
Okay.
How can this data that you collect, or not the data itself, but how can this trend that you use be used by others, not just in the same industry, but others? I mean, you're saying data is a big determinant of how you make your decision.
Yep.
And of course, you've seen some other people just don't. They do this left, right, and they make that decision. How would you tell these guys the value of data?
Ultimately, the hardest bit is when you're having a conversation with a supplier and you're discussing, we are going to do a promotion. It was 100. Do you put it at 79 or do you put it at 89? Are you going to get the same uplift or not? Or maybe even if you put it at buy one, get one, you're still getting the same uplift as if it was at 90. All those data trials and data runs and all those other things, coming to sit down with most partners and all. And monetizing the data that we have is something we have not ventured into, but it's something we know we are sitting on a big, extensive world of knowledge that most people will also want to actually learn. I challenged the Ministry of Trade the other day. They should be speaking to us to learn trends and what exactly does it entail a Kenyan and what they shop and how they shop and all those things. They'll probably get more data than some of the outside market that they actually do, because this will be clear. This is Eric. Eric does this. Even when he shops up country and he goes into a particular store, this is what he buys. This is his particular basket. Okay, you go backwards and know how much he pays you in KRA. And
then you can work it out.
How you get, as in, I'm talking about now, for example, the trends for your pay versus how you shop and all those things. Then, but
on the other hand, it can also help in policy formulation.
Exactly.
Moses Kuria can look at this data and see this is actually what we need. We need to encourage more and more investors into this direction and others. We need to encourage more and more growers of this kind of food when you're talking about fresh, or the kind of trends that we are seeing in fresh. It helps in policy formulation, policy direction.
Exactly. And now you mirror that data versus market data. The quick data, it was even just to do a quick one right now with you. Price of chicken highest than any other country in the world, you know. If you just to compare the chicken penetration and consumption versus, let's say, Uganda and all that, you'll clearly see the whole. Then you start getting ideas on how do I promote and actually get chicken cheaper into the market and not having chicken that is for 30 days as expensive as a cow that has stayed for more than 3 years. You know, it starts. There's all those things that we can all sit down together and start working, and there are traits that they will never learn. Yeah, suppliers are really eager anytime we're actually playing back this data, because the brand managers, for example, they use this data to also come up with new innovations and new everything and all. Yeah,
I'm surprised though. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that it's interesting that we use the data in the manner in which it's being used, because a lot of us would just sit and think, well, okay, Naivas is doing something fantastic today and there's a 21 shilling drop in price. And it's great for the next 3 weeks. But to actually apply the science to it, then you get to know who this person is who is walking into your store on a daily. And for me, it does a lot more. It does a lot more for the consumer. It does a lot more for the brand. It does a lot more for the economy, because the truth of the matter is that building economies can only be done to a certain extent with the right amount of data. You can't make a decision without the right information, right?
Absolutely.
And is that not what we're really pushing here at the end of the day? Is to have an economy that is driven by this data information. It allows us to make decisions for better, because the truth of the matter is that for economy to thrive, we're after profit.
Absolutely. And also to be more particular towards particular segments of persons, industries and everything. We just all have to go more detailed into what exactly the data is actually showing. It's as simple as seeing the shopper trend and what particular point we get shopper uplifts and all that over the weekends, or we'll start gauging and even assisting some of the policymakers when to make the roads, for example, in Westlands. Versus you can clearly come in and ask the retailers and all that, okay, what a kind of in the afternoons, what happens. You can always tell all that. You can also use that part to also look at the communication altogether. We just need to all sync. There's the whole blockchain bit that I think it's going to be a big story coming out of Qatar, on how they have completely interlinked everything from the hotels to the whole sports and everything and all that. It's going to be a study that hopefully will also come in here, and other governments will actually embrace, on how to do some that whole blockchain from all the particular different retail segments and all that, and just not retail, across all the areas of or industries and get something running.
You know, that requires a certain mindset that we have in very small quantities.
See you selective words.
I wanted to use something that is user-friendly and something that isn't adverse, because it requires accountability. You know, as you were speaking, I was thinking, you know, the government itself has an entire department that deals with just this. It's called NIS. They're data gatherers, they're information gatherers. That's what they do, primarily. Why? You have the National Bureau of Statistics. That's what they do. And then, with what Will is telling us, this guy's a sample size of 3 million. My goodness. That's a treasure trove. I mean, it's as you were speaking, I was just thinking, goodness gracious me. The amount of information, because you're dealing with something that is a must. It's a commodity everybody has to use. There are no ifs and buts. Yeah. They must. And he's sitting there.
Can even know where to build markets, where to build distribution points, where to build. Anyway, it's a lot of information.
What SMEs to support and all those things. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Willie, we thank you very much for coming and joining us and for all the information. I know you are a past chairman of the Retail Trade Association of Kenya, but you're still, of course, influential in that. Yeah. Next time, come, we talk about the industry and how the retail sector is actually doing.
I still sit on that board.
Yeah.
Hoping our main interest is not to go for competition. Our main interest is to grow modern trade, also as Naivas and all that. And more specific is to make sure that we are customer-centric, make sure that customers have it right. We give them value, and more so when it comes to this particular festive season, so that they're able to enjoy their families. So Merry Christmas.
Asante sana. Yeah. Shop at Naivas using your card and you stand a chance of winning Kulambuzi. What are you calling it? Krisi? Kikwetu. Yes. Nasikia hiyo.
Krisi Kikwetu na mbuzi.
Willie Kimani is the Chief Commercial Officer at Naivas. Thank you very much for joining us. Keeping here for more conversations. The conversations continue on SpiceFM and online on YouTube and Facebook. A very good morning to you. It's now 9 a.m.
Thank you very much.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Ida Odinga, the wife of Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, has castigated section of politicians in the Nyanza region against attacking her husband for his failure to clinch the presidency in the August 9th elections. Some politicians from the region have been faulting Odinga after he lost to President William Ruto in the polls. The leaders, including those who contested and similarly failed, claimed it is Odinga's fault that most of them did not make it. But Mama Ida has told the politicians not to make fun of her husband's loss in the election. Speaking during a Thanksgiving prayer organized by Homa Bay woman Representative Joyce Osogo, she accused some of the critics of abandoning her family. According to Mama Ida, some of the politicians spent time at her house before the election but have now turned against her family. And the candidates who sat their KCPE exam last month will know their results next week. Education CS Ezekiel Machogu said the ministry is already working on processing the results. Machogu was speaking in Nyeri, Masaba, Kisii County. The grading of Kenya's Certificate of Secondary Education is progressing well and assured that the results will not be riddled with any irregularities. An ex-convict behind a series of robberies and murders will be arraigned before the Kibera Law Courts. Peter Waithaka was arrested Sunday in Eastlands area after being pursued by police officers for 48 hours. Still in the same court, a man accused of possessing one female adult tortoise will be sentenced today. The United States is today rolling out the red carpet to leaders across Africa with plans to unveil $55 billion in support as part of a renewed bid to win back influence in the continent. Nearly 50 African heads of state, including President William Ruto government, have descended on Washington in the midst of a pre-Christmas cold snap for 3 days of courtship by President Joe Biden after years of inroads in the continent by China and Russia. Previewing the summit, Biden's National Security Advisor Jack Sullivan said the administration would seek $55 billion for Africa over the next 3 years across a wide range of sectors to tackle the core challenges of our time. He said the blueprint will be Africa's Union's own Agenda 2063, its plan for sustainable development. And 6 people died, including police officers in their 20s, when a routine missing persons investigation turned into an hours-long siege at a remote Australian property. 4 police officers arrived at a tree-lined property near the small town of Wimbilla late yesterday. The deceased were identified as 26-year-old Rachel Macro and 29-year-old Matthew Arnold. Both joined the force in the last 2 years and were still constables. A disgraced cryptocurrency tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas at the request of the United States, according to U.S. officials seeking to charge him after the spectacular collapse of his FTX platform. The arrest comes on the eve of Bankman-Fried's scheduled appearance at a U.S. court hearing in which he was to testify under oath about the crypto exchange's overnight demise. The 30-year-old had in recent weeks defied legal advice and multiplied media appearances offering its version of his company's sudden failure, usually by video link from the Bahamas, where his company is headquartered. According to a press release from the Attorney General's office in the Bahamas, Bankman-Fried was to be held in custody before an expected request for his extradition by the United States. The Bahamas Prime Minister's office shared news of the arrest, as well as police statements saying Bankman-Fried was arrested in the early morning at his apartment complex in the capital, Nassau. He was taken into custody without incident, according to the statement, and is set to appear in court in Nassau today. And Belgian investigators searched offices of the European Parliament Brussels in a probe into alleged bribes from the World Cup host Qatar. It was the 20th search carried out in Belgium since Friday, and Parliament President Roberta Metsola warned MEPs that democracy is under attack. Belgian police have arrested 4 people, among them European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili and a Greek MEP. And Sofapaka, the 2022 Jamhuri Day Cup champions after edging FC Leopards 4-3 in post-match penalties at the Nyeri National Stadium. Washington Munene gave Leopards the opening goal in the 14th minute from the spot after teammate Jeffrey Owiti was fouled in the box, but the 2009 Kenya Premier League champions equalized 6 minutes to full-time through Rodi Manga. Sofapaka won through penalties. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, the rain is coming down in sheets, folks, and this means that traffic will slow down at your roundabouts, at your junctions this morning, and we're already seeing that happening. Let's take a look at what's going on coming in from the Thika Superhighway. You're going to get to the Globe Cinema roundabouts and the underpass, overpass. All of that is an absolute mess right now. We're also looking at traffic coming in from Kipande, and it's really slow also coming off Limuru Road. And we're looking at traffic on Ring Road Westlands, out through James Gishuru, out onto Wayaki Way. Now, Kamkunji was a mess even before the rain started, and now we're looking at Landis absolutely jam-packed. Jogo Road is still really heavy, especially as you pass the train station. So we're also looking at traffic on Uhuru Highway going out towards that roundabout at Haile Selassie. Very slow movement this morning. Please be careful. You're going to have to slow down anyway because of the rain, so please arrive safely. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on Twitter. Tell us what is happening where you are. Thika Road just got packed. We see that. Use the service lanes. For those that use Outer Ring, the link between Mombasa and Thika Roads add your voice because revving your engine is not enough. Not at this hour. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
8 minutes after 9. Hiya. It's time for us to have another conversation. Ni nini?
Hakuna?
Eh?
Hakuna? I'm listening to you intently. Uoni?
Siku hizi uko na maringo sana.
See walao. I'm listening to you. Okay, if I don't look, okay, if you're talking, I don't look at you. How will you see it?
Uko na maringo?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many Samsung?
Buds, my friend.
It's the buds.
It's the buds. And they're not, look, let's call it buds anyhow.
Yeah.
Buds.
Anyhowly.
No, please.
Howly.
Let's not say that. This is sad. This is sad.
Sheesh, man.
Yikes.
You don't just call them.
You don't just say buds. No. It's the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. You get immersed. Imagine immersed. Immersed. That means you get where? Inside.
You get submerged.
I'm telling immersed. This one is inside CT. In sound like never before. It's featuring the intelligent 360 audio. That means all around and inside at the same time. Can it get any better than that? I do not know. It makes the sound feel more realistic. The Buds 2 Pro also feature enhanced head tracking, making every movement stay in sync. So even if you're flipping over, bending over, the music still stays intact, or rather the sound still stays intact. So you get an immersive experience. The Buds 2 Pro also help you stay connected to the Galaxy ecosystem with a simple tap, tap, tap. You're connected. They're also designed to fit comfortably in your ears. Fall in love with sound all over again with the Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. City, on that note.
Yes, on that very note.
Give us the proverb from...
yes, indeed.
Equatorial Guinea.
Yes, not to interfere with your thunder, my sister. I understand that this matter of the bud, wonderful stuff.
I know.
Wonderful stuff. Now imagine...
It's not so bad, eh?
No, it's not as bad as one may think. In fact, it's not bad at all. Now imagine, even as I read this proverb, that you actually have it on. Yes, and you're using whatever connectivity measures that are available to you. A wise man never knows all. Only fools know everything. Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra.
Beautiful.
Kabisa, the vehicle
totally.
to which I have delivered that particular proverb.
Totally. Okay. Niza zawaende. Ulipata nini? Ile kitu nikwambia ya kusoma. Arizona University.
Me nilipata.
Ulipata?
I even opened it up.
You logged in, registered, blah, blah, blah.
I didn't do any of that, but I did see it, and I did see the offer, and I did see what it is that they are offering to train, the whole array of
things,
training opportunities. I did see it. Yes, I did.
Okay. The Global Entrepreneurship and Innovation Bootcamp, available now with the Arizona State University and Thunderbird School of Global Management. This is what the president was talking about the other day. It was launched earlier in Kenya by the previous administration, the one where the president was the deputy. And so it was not a new thing.
The one where the current president was the deputy.
Was the deputy then.
Yes.
Course content and all is all there. What's the Industrial Revolution, strategic planning, organizational readiness. It's basically those online courses that we talked about. Remember, we talked about the similar thing being run by the African Leadership University Academy, ALX.com. So, similar thing. Okay. So, the president spoke yesterday. The headline in the Star today is saying what? I have fulfilled 5 of the promises in just 90 days.
Yes.
Yesterday was the 90th day of President William Ruto's administration since the day he was sworn in.
Yes.
Not according to the Muga calendar of since the day he witnessed the swearing in of his principal secretaries. It is since the day William Ruto himself took the oath of office as President of the Republic. 90 days yesterday. 100 days on the 22th of December. Sindio?
Yes.
Higher. So among the things that he says he has done, number 1, police reforms. We have seen the exit of Inspector General of Police and DCI, the disbandment of an SSU, the new Inspector General, new DCI, blah, blah, this and the other. He's given them authority to incur direct expense as the police, and now there's an accounting officer in the police department itself with the police service. They are running their own budget, although their budget is not directly coming to them. It's, of course, anyway, those are details. We have seen, what else?
Judges appointed.
Judges.
We have seen people, the promise to have people removed from CRB and to regularize that whole system.
That was done.
It was done. Reduce the cost of taking loans. We've seen, according to his advisement and guidance, the cost of taking loans such as Visa reduced by about 50%. We've seen things like this actually happen. The Hustler Fund has been delivered.
Right.
People have taken loans. People have even started returning the money that they have borrowed to the tune of 1.1 billion shillings.
They're repaying.
They're repaying their loans. Out of 7 billion so far, in just a week or two, Abi,
Yes.
1.1 billion has already been returned.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. And he has made several other promises.
Can I tell you the promises that he made yesterday?
Please tell us.
All right, here we go. Number 1, he's going to build 100,000 kilometer digital expressway. Sorry, I take it back. He's going to build a 100,000 kilometer digital superhighway to allow internet access to homes, cities, towns.
Expressway unalipa.
Very, very different. Okay? So I'm sorry.
Wait, but there's no indication whatsoever whether it's going to be free or not.
The name. Thika Superhighway is free.
It's free. Highway. Free.
Nairobi Expressway you pay.
Highway to hell is also free. Okay.
You have to earn that one. You don't just go. You think you just go to hell? You have to try really hard to actually get there. Yes. Please continue.
It is going to connect homes, cities, towns, and every part of Kenya. Number 2, transfer 85%, about 5,000 services of the remaining government services to the digital space in the next how many? 6 months. Deliver fertilizer subsidy to 1.3 million farmers through an e-voucher to eliminate brokers and cartels. So brokers and cartels, you are living in your last days. Deliver 1 million tech jobs in partnership with technology and digital space leaders. Actualize the dream of home ownership by delivering housing units.
Could you count? Because that's number 5.
This one I'm saying is number 5. Or you want me to be counting?
Saying 5.
Okay.
This 6. This number you. It all sounded like it's one promise.
Okay,
there are different promises.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Please continue with number 5.
Number 5. Number 5.
Yes, thank you very much.
Actualize the dream of home ownership by delivering housing units with monthly installments of between 2,500 shillings and 10,000 shillings. Number 6.
Okay, we're with you now.
Kenya Industrial Estate, CT, one of your favorite things, to provide coaching and mentorship to 100,000 entrepreneurs.
Okay, just coaching. Our party pesa? No money being given?
We're boss. Coaching and mentorship.
So mentorship equals money.
Coaching and mentorship. Halafu, number 7. Confer citizenship to the Pemba people living in Kilifi County. And guess what? The process has already begun.
To do what again to the Pemba who?
To confer citizenship to them. So they're not Kenyans as we speak. To convert Kenyan citizenship to the Pemba people living in Kilifi County. And the process has begun. It's not just a promise in the air. This one is kwa.
This sounds like a
Kwa
good
ground.
Or ground. Number 8, partner with Nairobi County to recruit at least 11,000 youth to grow a minimum of 1.5 million trees in the city's open and public spaces. Number 9, chiefs to rally people. Okay, sorry.
That's a promise.
Yes, wait.
Chiefs to
I've
do
not
what?
finished. Give me a minute.
To plant trees.
I'm breathing. Chiefs to rally people to grow 3,000 trees weekly. Now, before I get to number 10, in
What is this?
that means every week 3,000.
Is it to grow or to plant?
I'm reading.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I'm looking.
I'm reading what it said. Okay. I read it again.
Yes.
Chiefs to rally people to grow 3,000 to grow 3,000 trees weekly. We're going to have a lot of trees.
No, wait a moment. This is not to plant.
Grow.
I think it means plant one.
Still grow.
Yeah, but you can't grow them weekly. I mean, you plant them, you water them.
Weekly.
Listen to what he said.
Number
Every
10.
chief, specifically, every chief shall dedicate at least 1 day per week for a public baraza cum tree planting drive, in which the public will be mobilized to plant and grow at least 3,000 trees weekly within the respective locations. Si kupanda tu na kuenda nyumbani. You panda and you tender.
You know.
Lakini si kugrow. You still okay.
All right,
it's a simultaneous action. It can be planting and growing. I
You
mean, very
look
good.
after that tree.
Number 10, rebuild and monetize sports and creatives industry through the Talanta Hela plan. Sawa?
Atitala?
Talanta Hela.
Sawa.
Talanta Hela is pesa, sindio?
So kuna Talanta Hela, kuna Hustler Fund, kuna...
There's many things. You will not be left out
Meet in
anywhere.
Nairobi. Ati how many people is Sakaja going to hire?
11,000.
To do what?
To grow a minimum of 1.5 million trees in the city's open and public spaces. They're going to recruit these 11,000. Their job is to be planting trees.
Okay. And what about the other? Okay, the partnership I understand with the city, Nairobi City County. But what about the other counties? It says an Uni chief.
Chiefs. That's a chief. See, their chiefs are nationwide. Yeah, that's
So
why they said
perhaps
chiefs.
Nairobi is going to be pilot where from Nairobi you can see how
Let
it
me
is
ask
done.
you.
Nairobi is taking a hit when it comes to environmental degradation.
People. You know.
Why are you angry?
He's not angry. It's
And I'm getting worked up by Ruto and Sakaja.
It's the table that has upset him.
Listen.
Yes.
So, because this is something that Sakaja had mentioned one time, first of all, he's getting trees. He
did.
Some free trees.
Oh, the palm trees.
Those ones, forget about that first.
Okay, so
This thing of growing trees and saying that you're going to hire youth
11,000.
and you pay them per week. It was coming to about something like 6,000 bob per week or something like that.
Per
or
person.
Per person, right? 2,000 a week, 8K or something like that a month. And their job is to plant and grow trees. So this is just kazi mtaani.
It is kazi mtaani.
What for? What are we talking about here? Listen, Nairobi has Karura Forest. Sindio?
It has.
It has Ngong Forest.
It has.
It has Ololua Forest.
It has.
It has Nairobi Arboretum.
It does.
It has, wachana City Park, hiyo mulikula yote mkakata, whatever. Those 4 forests are within Nairobi. Who manages those forests? The Kenya Forest Service.
Yes, it does.
Right? They're here. They're managing the forests.
Yes.
Why not give them the job of planting the trees in this setting?
What is with the duplicity of effort? Why can't you just strengthen the structures that are already existing? And then these folks that you have who are readily available to do other things, place them elsewhere. What happens to the people, just like you said, who are there for this job anyway? That's what they do.
That's what they do. Ruto said Kenya Forest Service is going to get extra forest officers and extra forest rangers. See, he said that already.
Yes.
And then now we're going to hire youth
Nairobi
who will come and
be planting
so
trees.
you'll go to a certain person who has a tree nursery, you'll take some trees and then you'll come here and you'll plant. And this guy, his only job is to plant a tree and get paid.
Perhaps we've misunderstood.
What?
Maybe there's a different way.
No. what makes you think that these are diametrically opposed? What if the 11,000 are going
Will
to
be absorbed?
Thank you very much, Eric.
They'll
You are a far-seeing man who understands
attached to the
things
Kenya
quickly.
Forest Service.
Precisely, because you see, among the duties that will be assigned to them will be the planting and growing of trees. But in addition to that, perhaps the normal kazi mtaani things of sweeping and whatever it is that they used to do in kazi mtaani will also continue.
Ruto mwenyewe, when he was mocking kazi mtaani. In fact, when Ruto went to launch the Kibera housing project, what did he say about kazi mtaani? Vijana wetu kazi yao si kufagia na kutoka takataka. Sasa vijana wetu ni kazi yao ni kupanda miti.
He actually derided that particular process. Yes,
and now he's saying
addressed
our
it
vijana
perfectly.
are going to stop sweeping. They'll actually start planting and watering trees.
All right, enough
Hiyo
of-
ndio kazi ya vijana wetu sasa.
What I
Kubeba
hear you-
maji na kajerican kumwagilia mti.
What are you asking is after they planted the trees,
Nonsense
then
is
what?
this? Yeah.
The capacity that
And
was
how
supposed-
much money are we talking about?
Indeed.
How much? What is this? How much money are we just talking about? Oh, we're going to have 11,000. The problem that we had with Kazim Tani, PS Hinga is still in office. Among the challenges that he was facing with Kazim Tani was people who are supposed to be getting paid and they're not getting paid, but money has been disbursed.
Yes.
Or money has not been disbursed. That whole issue of lack of clarity on who has done what, who's working, who's getting paid, people pocketing that money.
And then there was a budget issue because a certain amount was budgeted for, and after a certain period of time, that money ran out. Then what do you do?
And yet that money, it was 10 billion shillings. That money never went to the youth.
It went elsewhere.
It went elsewhere. 11,000 youth to be hired by Sakaja. Sakaja kazi yako ni kupanda miti. Toa takataka Nairobi bwana. I'm getting worked up by this story, by the way.
You know, let's look at the effort that is being made to do certain things that might be useful.
Yeah.
That's where I prefer to focus my mind.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Okay.
And let's also not lose sight of the fact that our president is a politician. And politicians, on a day like Jamhuri Day, when you have the attention of the whole country, you will say things.
Yeah, but City, you've got the seat, man. You are the president. Unless an act of God or otherwise, you are the president. You don't have to campaign anymore. You don't have to tell people, I will do this in order for you to give me your vote. Man, you're there. So this is the thing. How about the structures that are existing, for which you said we're going to make them stronger? Use them. Make decisions that actually make it look as though you have your handle on things.
You don't seem to think that this is precisely it. What we are witnessing is precisely the realization of the very thing that you're saying. It's not just a question of promises. Remember, these are being said against a backdrop of what has been achieved in 90 days. So in order that we may fulfill this, we may breathe life into the hustler narrative.
Yeah.
These are some of the things that we want to do. And everything that I see being mentioned here, there's nothing wrong with what's being mentioned here. Especially this citizens of Pemba. This one I liked particularly.
Yeah.
Recognizing these people have been living here for the longest time.
And why do we do this thing piecemeal, by the way?
Ah.
We recognize Pemba today. Last year we recognized, what do we call that?
They were called
the previous year we recognized the Indians. The other, so we were recognizing the people who are from the Shona, from Zimbabwe. Then the other one was... Why do we recognize them piecemeal? Why not just look at
they're there?
Who's been in this country?
Yeah, but then if we open that particular floodgate, and I'm using the word floodgate deliberately, then we also have issues with citizens of this country who happen to come from northeastern Kenya. The issue of their identification and the way that matter is handled, again, it reeks of discrimination. And the truth of the matter is that a little regularization and understanding about the entire concept of citizenship, you want to open it up for discussion.
No, it's okay. I mean, that's a conversation that can be had in terms of, all right, so how, because the Somali community has been recognized as part of Kenya, okay? You're born in Kenya and all. You just say, where are you from? I'm from this county. What tribe are you? I'm Somali. Fine. The problem with the people of Pemba, they don't have IDs.
No, they don't.
You were born where? Kilifi. What's your tribe? Pemba. You're not in our list. That's it. You don't get an ID. that means you don't get to own anything in this country. That's the issue. So let's... Anyway, I'm getting this feeling that there is a lot of ukora that's already creeping into this government. Okay? Look at this. Let me read this, what the president said. The rains are finally here. Our farmers are now ready to give Kenya a bumper harvest, improve food supply, and drive down the price of food, the single biggest driver of the cost of living. They'll achieve these goals using affordable fertilizer and certified seeds. The government, working with the private sector, has engaged suppliers to import 300,000 metric tons. That's 6 million bags of fertilizer. A consignment of 2 million bags has already landed at the port of Mombasa, and the remaining 4 million will arrive in the first week of January in time for the long rains. So, 6 million bags by mid-January will be in the country. The government will continue to subsidize the price of fertilizer, and farmers will buy the fertilizer at 3,500 shillings a bag. Now, we have had issues with fertilizer importation, fertilizer subsidy, distribution of fertilizers going to the intended beneficiaries. All right? I am not hearing anything that's being said by the president, by Medeka Linturi, or by his PSs on how this time the actual farmer, like our friend from Ainamoi, Joel, will actually go and walk to Serious Board, go home with fertilizer bag worth 3,500 and use it in his farm. I'm not hearing that. The best thing I'm hearing here is that the private sector has already been identified and has already been told, you bring the fertilizers. And the government is subsidizing. Yeah. That means that however much you, private supplier, you're buying this fertilizer for, I will buy it at your price. I will sell it to the farmer at 3,500. How much is the government buying that fertilizer for?
And where
is that competitive? Is that competitive? Question number one. Okay? Question number two. This 11,000. The other one is, of course, the biggest one for me, which is, I've concluded this is a criminal enterprise. Remember what the Honorable Moses Wetangula, EGH, a.k.a. Papa Waroma, did when he was in the Senate. He chaired a committee that was established, a select committee, to investigate the, what was it called? MES.
Yes, the scandal.
The medical equipment scheme, okay, across the country. Their report, although it was heavy at the top and completely empty at the bottom, which is why it mattered, their report started by saying the concept of the medical equipment scheme was a noble concept. It was going to move this country's health system very far. However, this concept was hijacked and turned into a criminal enterprise. And they went on and on and on and on. They failed in saying what should be done about it.
Yeah, or naming who was responsible for it. Yeah.
This time we have the Hustler Fund. The president says the Hustler Fund is actually a very good thing. Let me read what the president is talking about the Hustler Fund before we take the break. Iko wapi sasa, imepotea.
Taratibu pole pole. Hapo. Let's go on the break, Eric.
We go on the break?
Yes, then after the break, we'll give it the details, analysis that it requires.
Okay, sawa. Then let's take the break. Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room at 9:30. We are taking this break to take a look at, my God, is that the weather? And then we take a look at, oh my goodness, is that the traffic? What? And then we'll back and continue the conversation. At some point, we'll open up the phone line 0719 012 600. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Join the flip side with the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. It's packed with amazing features that will have you doing backflips, like FlexCam, which allows you to do hands-free video calling, group shots, selfies, and much more. It's beautifully designed to fit your lifestyle and fit neatly in your pocket when folded. But it's not just beautiful. It performs powerfully and it's flipping strong from the inside out. You've got every reason to join the flip side with the Galaxy Z Flip 4, available in selected Samsung stores countrywide.
London Mulwa DJ Absolute. When the gang is together.
Got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada.
Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Yeah?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on.
Yeah. 19 and showers in Nairobi. They're coming down. Highs of 24 and lows of 16. At 19, it's partly sunny in Nakuru. Highs of 24 and lows of 13. And we'll see lows of 12 in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 18. 18 and mostly cloudy in Eldoret. Highs of 23 and lows of 12. And we'll see highs of 31 in a cloudy Mombasa at 28. It's partly sunny at 30 in Malindi. Highs of 32. And we'll see highs of 27 in a cloudy Kisumu at 22. 22 and cloudy in Kakamega. It'll go to highs of 26. Looking to Kampala, it's sunny at 20, highs of 24, and 32 will be the high in a rainy Dar es Salaam this morning at 29. Showers are also coming down in Johannesburg at 16, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 32 in a rainy Lagos at 25. The rain is also coming down at 22 in Kinshasa, highs of 29. It's -3 and sunny in Beijing. It'll go to highs of -2, and get this, lows of -10. -4 and clear in Paris, highs of 1, and highs of 1 where it's -1 and clear in London. -2 and partly cloudy on Tuesday, Monday night in New York. Coming into Tuesday, we'll see highs of 5 and lows of -2.
Spice up your life.
Yes, with the rain comes quite a lot of that. And so everywhere is red all of a sudden. Jogger Road, which was red before, still continues with the red status. It's heavy on Landys and moving really slowly as you're trying to get into the city coming off Jogger Road. And then into the eastern part of the city, looking at that whole section that then connects with Juja Road, very heavy. From Survey on the Thika Superhighway out towards Muranga Road and then through to Moy Avenue. It's heavy traffic, guys. And we're looking at Wangari Maathai Way, which is bumper to bumper and another bumper. Coming out of Westlands, slow coming off James Gishuru as you then try to connect towards Wayaki Way. So we're looking at traffic. It's going to be extended past the hour. Let's see what happens through the morning. It's slippery. It's slow. So take care. Talk to us on SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Affordable housing project in Kibra said hii kazi ya mitaa hii.
Mitaa.
Kazi ya mitaa. Vijana wetu wanatumua kufagia kuokota takataka. Kazi ya kuokota takataka ni kazi ya Sakaja. Okay?
Si vijana wetu. Vijana wetu waandika kwa hii kazi ya affordable housing. Watapata kazi.
Watapata ajira kwa ujenzi.
Watapata ujira na watajenga madirisha, milango na watapata kazi ya ujenzi. Now 11,000 of those vijana wataenda kusaidia Sakaja kupanda miti. Haya, this is what the president said yesterday about the Hustler Fund. Perhaps more profound is the launch on November 30th of the Hustler Fund, an innovative revolving fund combining credit and savings to support and empower many Kenyans access affordable credit. The fund is available on digital platforms and accessible to individuals on their own. As of this morning, the 13th day since the launch, the fund had disbursed 7.5 billion Kenya shillings. At the same time, 15.4 million Kenyans had registered for the fund. Before the expiry of the 14-day repayment period, 1.1 billion shillings has since been repaid and nearly 400 million mobilized in savings. It is clear under this program that Kenyans have found a platform to save. Clearly, Kenyans know the value of borrowing and paying, contrary to the rhetoric of skeptics. by all accounts, this is revolutionary. And then he just paused there and he went off the cuff a bit and he said, my fellow Kenyans, you leaders who are complaining here and making noise, you guys are accessing mortgage at 3%. What's wrong with Kenyans getting credit at 8%? And they're repaying. You think that these people do not want to repay. They want to repay, and you can see they are actually engaging and actively repaying. What is more is that the platform that is managing the Hustler Fund was developed locally. Now, okay, this is what we are being told. Who is reporting to the president about the 7 billion shillings that has been disbursed, the 1 billion shilling that has been repaid, the 400 million shillings that has been saved? Who's reporting this to the president?
Who's telling him? Who's giving this information?
Who's giving him this information? Because the law, the Public Finance Management Act, says that this fund shall be managed by a board and a secretariat.
Yes, it does.
The board shall comprise 8 members. Chairman appointed by the president, not in consultation and concurrence with the Prime Minister, No, the President shall make a decision on who becomes chairman of the board of the Hustler Fund. Number 2, member, PS for MSMEs. Number 3, PS for industrialization. Number 4, PS in the National Treasury. Number 5, Attorney General. Number 6 and 7, 2 persons appointed by the CS for SMEs. And number 8, the CEO of the fund, who, of course, shall be hired and recruited by the board. Now, the president has not done what he's supposed to do. Appoint the chairman of the Hustler Fund. Oh, no, the Financial Inclusion Fund.
Thank you.
President has not done that. The president has not gazetted this board. Or the PS, the CS for SMEs has not gazetted this board. The board has not then sat and appointed a secretariat to run this. So who is disbursing this money and who is reporting this 7.5 billion shillings that has been disbursed? Who's receiving the 1.1 billion shillings that has been repaid? Who is keeping the 400 million shillings that has been taken into savings? Who?
Who should be? Maybe that's the question I should ask.
The fund, board, and secretariat.
So now if there is no fund, board, or secretariat, then the person who ought to be is not. So are we talking about contravention of things that ought to be?
You know,
completely.
No.
Total.
Not complete. Absolute.
Because surely, if the person who is supposed to do this does not exist, then the entire operation of this whole thing is
a ghost.
Casper.
Is a ghost. Number 2.
Oh, there's more.
The Public Finance Management Act says that no shilling of government shall be spent without the say-so of Parliament. Okay? Parliament appropriates money to be spent by government. 50 billion shillings has not been appropriated by Parliament to be used for Financial Inclusion Fund.
So, have we heard that the plenary has sat and discussed this matter and then given parliamentary approval for this money to be spent in the process that they normally do when money will be spent at whatever level?
Heard.
Have we heard?
A request has not come from the National Treasury for appropriation of 50 billion shillings or any amount to a Financial Inclusion Fund. This hasn't happened. So where is this money coming from? Which money are we talking about?
Whose money is being used here?
Deeper than that, without a board in place to manage the fund, in whose account is the 400 million shillings savings sitting? Okay. Who is taking the 1 billion shillings that has been repaid? Who's receiving it? Who procured this innovative, locally grown tech that is being used to run this thing?
Since it's local.
How was it procured?
Because everything government usually falls in the category of what you call an open tender.
Yes.
Everyone knows about it. All the rules and regulations regarding that particular process is out in the open.
Yes.
So we even know the people who are contended for it, and we also know the person who was then selected. And reasons as to why they were selected is also given, all in the public domain.
Look, it almost seems as though there would be this widespread euphoria about this fund and that nobody will start to ask the questions as to whether it is properly constituted.
Yep. Or that's legal.
Or legal from the very beginning. It is that the president has said there will be a fund. And then soon after he's been sworn in, the government is in place, here is the fund. And that it is thought that people would be very happy to say, yes, it's been delivered. Forget about the fact whether it is in the manner in which he promised it would be. Forget about that. Those are details. That it is actually here and people can dial a number on their phones and they can borrow money in your account. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that nobody would ask questions about how this thing is really done. Because the question that must be asked today, whether you like it or not, where is this money coming from?
Yep.
If it is coming from Treasury, who has allowed that the money leave Treasury? Number 3, when money leaves Treasury, it has to be a public process that people must know, and this is now lived out through Parliament. That Parliament comes and says, from Treasury, we've received this request. Shall we deliberate? Yes, we shall. Can we allow you to spend it? Yes or no? The process continues. If these things did not happen, we're dealing with a huge illegality here across board, and nobody can even question it. We're dealing with a huge one here. And then, who is it left up to say, hold on, slow your roll, stop this thing?
Parliament. Same Parliament. The majority minority members of Parliament are the ones who have sat back and abrogated their role, and it's being usurped and taken by an executive. At this very juncture, that's what's happening. If indeed this is not private money that we are being given and we are being told we are borrowing and
that
repaying at
somebody is loaning
8%.
you their investments.
If not somebody who is actually running a private scheme, lending you money, 7 billion shillings they've lent you, and they expect you to repay at 8%. And when you are repaying, you're repaying inclusive of some 5% that was deducted, and they're calling it a saving. And they're not telling you this saving of yours, where it is, how much interest your saving is earning, and all that. That's why I'm calling this, it's a pure and simple thing to use the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula's words. This is a criminal enterprise. Pure and simple.
In the absence of a plausible explanation that follows the laid down processes that government has for any such endeavor, what alternative does one have really? I mean, how else do you look at it?
There's no other way now.
Chiti, today if you dial star 25254 hash, right, and you went to borrow that money, say you are told, all right, your limit is 500. You say, Sawa, give me the 500. They take 5% of it. Right, so they give you 475 bob, and you're required to pay. Okay? How do we know that your 500 is what the president is reading out? How do we know that the people who are giving Ruto the information are actually not saying that CT was given 5,000 shillings?
We don't.
How do you know how many people have borrowed?
How do we even know they're not saying I was given 50,000?
Exactly.
Because it's within the limits that has been mentioned, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's just, look, without these instruments in place, really, it's just somebody saying, it could be your guy. Oh, by the way, give me the report. It could be your guy saying, okay.
It's 7 billion.
It's 7 billion. And of that number, some 1.1 billion has come back.
Has been repaid.
How are you going to prove it? How, without proper records that can then be verified by the same board which is supposed to be constituted
records,
to do this?
The important bit is, according to the law, those records, the custodian of those records is one established by the law.
The law. Which
the
is
Financial Inclusion Fund Board. That is the custodian of those records. Anybody else who's holding those records today
is holding them illegally.
Yes.
It doesn't belong to them.
Doesn't even have the mandate to do so.
You know,
it's like, say you're going to allow a security guard sit in your living, somebody who's supposed to be guarding the estate, come and sit in your living room and then have access to everything in your house. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be watching outside.
They're watching inside.
They don't have the mandate to do it. Who is this person anyway?
You know the thing about structures and frameworks, as we refer to them, knowing human nature and the adverse qualities of human nature even when you have structures, there will be individuals who will seek to subvert it.
Yep.
But the good thing about structures is you will know exactly when it has been abrogated. You will know.
Yep.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
So, when there's a structure in place, if you go against it,
will be
you
known.
will know.
It will be known.
If there is no structure in place,
What do you know? What can you know? And how will you know it?
And how can you then come and hold somebody responsible for what? Do you see? You're holding somebody responsible for what? You don't even know what's happening inside here. So how will you say you did or did not do when there are no rules? There are no beams. There's nothing. And it could be intentional. How's that for conspiracy? It could be intentional. So that these questions that you're asking, to whom will you ask?
You know, when President Kibaki, the former president Kibaki, opened up this space for what we now take for granted called personal loans. If you talk to people in the banking industry, one of the things that some institutions reported was that there were scams that actually took place. Okay? And the scams took place with people who worked within that same industry, understanding how that particular system worked.
Yep.
So those personal loans never really went to people per se. It came to them and whoever it is that they had planned with. And a lot of money went that route.
Yep.
Never reported, never spoken about in public, but it did. But how did they know? Because they had a system.
You could track back and
You
see.
could track back and see it. So you knew that this is exactly what's happening. And you could then stop it and institute better schemes, better programs that would now ensure that such a problem doesn't arise again.
Why not just do it right is my question. Very simply. Why not just do it right?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yesterday, the president was talking about the skeptics. And I wondered, all right, so yeah, there are skeptics, fine. And it's good that you say, skeptics, look, there are people who are actually benefiting. Okay, you can say that. Yeah. But Mr. President, you know very well the procedure. Professor Njogona Ndongo at the National Treasury initiated that procedure by drafting regulations under the PFM Act, went around the country, collected views, took them to Parliament, they were passed in Parliament. That means there's a law entrenching the Hustler Fund. That law creates these structures. The structures, of course, the president saw these regulations before they were even published. And he saw that role number one is his, appointing a chairman of the board. That all the people running this fund shall start from the president's office. He knows it. The Attorney General is a member of this board. The Attorney General advises the President. The Attorney General is a immediate former Speaker of the... In fact, he's not even forgotten how to say order. Maybe even sits there in the cabinet and says order.
There hasn't been enough time for him to forget.
Yes. So he knows what should be done.
And he is the legal advisor to the...
Government and the President.
Yes.
All right? These things are not happening. William Ruto has carefully cultivated a persona and image of a man who is a hardworking man, a diligent man. He does not take alcohol. He wakes up early. He sleeps late. He is on top of everything. He's a hands-on president. All right? He works very hard. He knows everything that's happening.
It's not possible that you forget.
So it's not possible that he can be talking about 7.5 billion shillings disbursed, blah, 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 blah.
And there's no structure for it.
That there's no structure for it.
Sorry.
So you ask yourself, why is the president and his people doing this?
You really have
it's
to
not
ask
a
question,
difficult. I mean, it's not.
It's not difficult conclusions.
It's not like he's required to go around the country with somebody and say, "Do you guys approve this person to be the chairman?" No, all he needs to do is
appoint one.
Appoint. I have 4 other members. Quorum for this thing is 4. If I appoint the chairman and I gazette this thing tomorrow, they'll start running.
Tunanza job
done.
Go to Parliament. I have the numbers. Jogona. Go to Parliament, ask for supplementary budget.
Release this money.
Appropriate 50 billion shillings into this thing. Get it done. Move. He has the goodwill, the leeway, the instruments, everything. Why is he not doing it?
Why not do it right? And do you see now why it would be so easy to arrive at conspiracy? Do you see how easy it's being delivered for a vacuum to be filled right here, right now? And you want to ask yourself, underneath all of this confusion and this cloud, what is the long game? What is going on here with this fund? Because other things even easier in structure, other things even more difficult in structure and delivery, have the right instruments, have the correct procedure, have the correct structure, have the correct personnel working on it. This is easy. Why not do it? It is so easy to deliver conspiracy on this one because somebody's going to ask, all right, the amount of money we're talking about is no chicken change, number one. Number two, why then you have people who are saving money, they don't know where it's going, releasing money, we don't know where it's coming from. Somebody's holding money, we don't know who is holding it, we don't know who has... Come on. Anybody who wants to create a movie with great subtitles here has the leeway to do so because you've made it so easy.
You know, when you have a situation where questions arise, and they're questions to which responses to are simple, really, and there are none, as you would say, boom. Mm-hmm. That situation, it's like you've germinated the very, very fodder you need for conspiracy. It's wide open.
You don't even have to go far.
And anything and everything can now play into that space.
Who will you blame today? All the different things that we hear, who are you going to blame today who says, wonderful, another avenue for somebody to come and, look for the profits that can be made off the top and then put it in their pocket? Who will you blame?
Or take off the entire amount.
Or says 50 billion out, and then you say, because you will be able to come and tell them later, actually, we do not know who it was who was operating because there was no structure. We don't know where this money was coming from because legislatively we did not give the leeway for that to happen through Parliament. Okay. Number 3, we actually don't know where this money was being saved because also we did not put the instruments in place to make it happen. Who will you blame tomorrow? You won't blame anybody now. You won't say that actually, you know what? But if you have those instruments working, you are then bound by them.
Yes.
And here you are basically saying, we're going to continue with this thing. We're not going to be bound by anything. Should the doo-doo hit the fan, you will not be able to blame anybody.
Yep.
Nobody can hold you accountable or responsible. It looks like a long game. And who are you going to blame for coming up with such a conspiracy today? You can't. You have nothing to hold anybody to.
You know, if you look at the financial system that the world currently has, it works on something called a fiat. Okay? Essentially, it's the government producing paper. Literally, that's what it is. It's not backed by anything like gold or platinum or silver, a commodity that you can attach value to. The reason it has value is because we give it value.
Yes.
We accept it as currency.
Yes.
Okay? Now, take that thought and make it electronic. What you'll be talking about is something which in reality may not even exist. If you actually take your thought along that line. Because who do you need to be able to give somebody, electronic credit? What do you need for it? Do you need real money? What system do you need? How is it created? Why is it that M-Pesa, for instance, works? Why is it that Airtel Money works? Why is it that all these other electronic-backed systems work? Why? Because at some point, you, the person who uses them, actually you have a currency that is considered to be legal tender and has a value attached to it. You are the one who make it possible. Okay? Now, in a case such as this one, you open it so wide. You bring into being so many questions.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Beginning with regulations and processes that are already laid down to now financial issues and how it is even such a process should be regularized or should be run using the regulations that we already have in our system regarding such financial issues. There is actually no aspect of this entire process that you don't raise questions about. None. Everything that you can think of.
How did Goldenberg happen? This young man called Kamlesh Patni came up with an idea.
Yes.
We have an issue with accessing foreign exchange. How about we sort out export and then we facilitate exportation of goods through Kenya? We earn foreign exchange and then you can compensate the exporter. Right?
Yes, and you know what was interesting? it was the US government had actually backed that system. It was a way of trying to help Kenyans realize their export potential. And there was some rebate that you would get when you exported things. Something that other people elsewhere in the Western world considered to be of value.
Basically, the whole thing is to help it get foreign exchange in the market. Brilliant concept, noble concept, everything. What happened? A guy started saying that he's exporting gold, and yet he's exporting zero.
You know why?
And going to central bank and saying, look, here.
Give me my money.
Yeah, is shipment verification. Give me my money I exported.
You know, export requires some serious documentation. So that documentation represents the so-called gold.
Yes.
So if you understand the documentation and you present it, at some point somebody will ask, okay, fine, we understand it, but somebody has to receive it on the other end.
On the other side, yeah.
And there's a little element of verification. Do you know there were whistleblowers then? They did not cost them.
Life.
First of all, you lose your job. The two gentlemen whose names keep coming up with regards to this, you lose your job, first of all.
Yeah.
That's the end of your job, and no one is willing to listen to you. Now, later on, when we referred to it as a scandal, was because the export system has a structure and a process. Okay? At some point, the verification that I speak of was brought into question. Okay, fine. Paper is okay.
Trail.
Okay. Follow. You get to the other side.
Panga.
It was an ozone layer. Nothing had been delivered. And yet, the sort of money that had actually been, should we say, realized, if I may use that term, was a colossal amount.
And if you make the connect, because the question is, how do you make the connect with such a huge thing that happened and what we're seeing today? That is how it started.
That's right.
Very simple
50
thing that
billion
had no
shillings
structure.
is being lent
50 billion
out
shillings
to
is being
people,
lent out to people.
to their mobile devices, and they're signing nowhere.
Where is it coming from?
They're mobile phones that are borrowing.
And 5% is being saved. Where is it being stored? Where?
These questions must be asked, and I think they're dismissing it and they're skirting around the corners. Just do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
You know, if those questions are not responded to now, they will have to be responded to in the future. Because Goldenberg cost people. There are people who died even before those cases were determined. And these were high-ranking government officials.
Yes, indeed. Similar thing. But what we expect basically is, instead of Opio and I calling a press conference to tell us Raila is going to be busy on the 12th, he should be asking these questions in Parliament as leader of minority and the others.
And why are the questions not being asked in Parliament?
Instead of Babu Owino telling us, oh, you know who, yeah, right, how we lost.
No.
Ask these questions in Parliament. This is the job that you've been given by the people of Embakasi East. These are the questions you should be asking.
And then when you question, our lawmakers will claim that they are being picked on. How? You have a duty, you know what it is, we know what it is. Do it.
Very simply so.
Enough rant for the day. It's raining. We're feeling warm enough. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Hey, you have a lovely day, okay? We'll be back tomorrow. Sawa?
Sawa.
At 6 a.m.
Cheers.
Good morning. It's now 10 o'clock.